Hello there and welcome to the Sleepyometry channel. Tonight, beneath the soft veil of night, when the world grows quiet enough for your thoughts to loosen their grip, there opens a gentle doorway into another realm. A realm where science and mystery coexist like two distant stars whose light finally touches in the darkness. This is the atmosphere of sleepy science, a place suspended between knowledge and wonder, where unexplained phenomena drift like slow-moving tides, reminding us that the universe is still far larger than our understanding can contain. Here strange lights glimmer at the edges of perception, unfamiliar sounds ripple through oceans and mountains, and ancient forests guard secrets older than recorded memory. In this space we begin not with certainty but with curiosity and a soft willingness to rest in the unknown. So before we continue, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss a single revelation. As this story unfolds moment by moment in real time, tell me in the comments where you're watching, from what time it is there, and whether you believe we're hearing the whole truth about what's unfolding above our heads. And if you want to keep the signal alive, share this video on X, Facebook, Reddit, or even just with the people who still look up at night. You are the reason we can keep following the impossible, and for that, thank you. Imagine standing on a quiet shoreline just before dawn. The horizon is only a suggestion, a faint boundary between ocean and sky. Out there somewhere in the open water are the milky seas that sailors have whispered about for centuries, vast fields of glowing ocean that shine not in pulses or flashes, but in a steady, serene luminescence that can stretch for hundreds of kilometers. Though some of these ghostly oceans may be caused by bioluminescent bacteria, others remain unexplained. Their light is too uniform, too constant, almost as though the sea itself has momentarily decided to glow from within. It is one of the first reminders that nature does not always behave according to our expectations. Sometimes it simply presents a mystery and asks us to look more carefully. Now lift your gaze to the night sky. Above you the stars hum with complexity and quiet persistence. Some of them flicker in ways that seem almost encoded, dimming and brightening in sharp geometric segments rather than smooth curves. These anomalous variable stars do not behave like stars obscured by dust or orbiting planets. Their patterns resemble signals, as if something immense were passing in front of them, something constructed rather than born. Science does not yet have a complete explanation, though hypotheses abound: exotic dust clouds, internal stellar cycles, or something stranger still. But as Einstein once said, the most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and all science. These stars flickering like cosmic lanterns embody that truth. They invite us to pause, breathe, and acknowledge that the universe prefers to reveal itself slowly. Travel with me now into the deep forests, places where the trees have stood for centuries, absorbing starlight and silence in equal measure. There in the stillness, pockets of cold air drift as though alive, sliding between branches without following patterns of shadow or wind. In ordinary physics, cold air should sink, settle, or disperse. Yet in certain ancient woods, these moving cold spots meander with intent, as if responding to movements unseen. Scientists have noted correlations with microclimates, mineral deposits, even subtle changes in geomagnetic fields. But none of these explanations fully account for the sensation of something silently gliding past. Forests have always been guardians of the unknown, their roots deeper than our history, their canopies older than our stories. Encountering the unexplained in a place like this is not frightening. It is grounding. It reminds us that the world is alive in ways we do not always measure. Let us descend now into the earth itself, down where the soil grows dense and the rock begins to hum. Even in the absence of earthquakes or shifting plates, our planet emits a continuous vibration. The earth's hum, a deep, persistent tone that resonates far below the threshold of human hearing. Microseisms, waves interacting with shores, atmospheric pressure, changes these offer partial explanations, but none can fully describe why the hum is so steady, so global, so constant. To imagine the earth singing softly endlessly is to feel our place within something vast and interconnected. It is to realize that even silence carries music. Beyond the earth, the universe continues its slow and intricate dance. Radio telescopes occasionally catch bursts of energy from beyond our galaxy, fast radio bursts or FRBs that appear and vanish in the blink of an eye. Some repeat with astonishing regularity, following rhythms more precise than any natural phenomenon we currently understand. Their origins remain uncertain, magnetars, collapsing stars, or events we have not yet conceived. But their patterns, their insistence, their almost heartbeat-like cycles suggest a universe that is not chaotic but composed, a universe that speaks in signals, even if we do not yet know the language. And then there are the sounds, strange atmospheric murmurs that do not correspond to weather machinery or seismic activity. People across the world have reported the faint echo of sky trumpets, long metallic tones drifting from above. While many cases can be linked to atmospheric ducting temperature inversions or distant industrial noise bending across the landscape, some remain unexplained, too consistent or too localized to fit familiar models. They remind us that the air itself can become an instrument when the conditions are right, that the sky can murmur just as the oceans do. Through all of these mysteries, glowing seas, encoded stars, whispering forests, humming earth, and cosmic signals, a theme emerges softly but unmistakably. Humanity knows only a small fragment of what exists. Our sciences are powerful, precise, and continually evolving, but they are still tools held by beings who have lived on a single planet for a very short time. What we call unexplained is simply the portion of reality where our vocabulary has not yet grown large enough, and yet there is something profoundly comforting in that. Mystery is not a failure of understanding, it is the invitation to explore, to imagine, to rest in the vastness of what remains unknown. In the gentle darkness of night, these unexplained phenomena become less like puzzles, demanding solutions, and more like lullabies from the universe itself. They whisper that we do not need all the answers tonight. We only need to feel the wonder that arises in their presence. As you breathe more slowly and let your thoughts drift, remember this. The unknown is not an enemy. It is a companion. It has been with us since the first time our ancestors looked up at the stars and wondered what lay beyond them. It will be with us still long after every mystery we currently hold has been understood. The shadows of the not yet explained are simply the edges of tomorrow's discoveries, waiting patiently for us to arrive. And now, as we move deeper into this journey, we turn to one of the most gentle and curious mysteries of all, the strange phenomenon of people sharing the same dream without ever having met. In the quiet hours of the night, when the boundary between waking and sleeping becomes as thin as a breath, the human mind enters a realm where logic dissolves into imagery and memories mingle with the unfamiliar. Dreams are often described as private worlds, intimate landscapes shaped by our own experiences, fears, and hopes. And yet, across different continents, among people who have never met, never heard of one another, and never shared a single thread of daily life, something remarkable sometimes occurs. They dream the same dream. Not just similar dreams, but uncannily identical ones. The same hallway with flickering lights, the same silent figure standing at the shore of a dark sea, the same impossible city with its spiral towers and floating bridges. These moments, reported in sleep labs, online forums, and psychological studies, create a soft shimmer around our understanding of consciousness. How can two or more minds, separated by oceans, cultures, and lives, wander into the same unreal place? Science approaches this question gently because the phenomenon itself is delicate, like a ripple in water that disappears when disturbed. Researchers note that dreams are shaped by neural architecture, memory consolidation, emotional regulation, and random activation of visual and sensory cortices. But shared dreams, where the content aligns with improbable accuracy, stretch beyond cultural motifs or common symbols. They hint at something deeper in the human psyche, something that may be less divided than we believe. Picture this: two strangers, thousands of kilometers apart, fall asleep under very different skies. One drifts off to the hum of city traffic, the other to the sound of tropical rain on a metal roof. Their days were unrelated, their languages different, their worries distinct. And yet, when sleep enfolds them, they both find themselves standing at the edge of a deserted train station bathed in blue light. They both hear the same distant humming. They both sense the same quiet presence behind them, not threatening, simply observing. When they wake and recount their dreams in a study and a conversation, or by accident in a public forum, the similarities strike them like a soft shock. How can this be? One hypothesis suggests that the brain operating under universal neural rules might converge towards similar forms. Just as rivers in distant lands carve similar curves, perhaps the dreaming brain creates landscapes that follow shared structural pathways. Archetypes, geometry, primal fears, and universal sensory patterns might shape dreams that appear shared even if born independently. But the precision of some shared dreams complicates this explanation. Exact colors, identical symbols, synchronized sequences, these details go beyond broad archetypes. They resemble coordination rather than coincidence. Some neuroscientists have speculated that during sleep the brain becomes unusually sensitive to subtle environmental signals, changes in geomagnetic fields, faint sounds, or atmospheric pressure. It's a fragile idea, certainly not mainstream, but it suggests that humans might tune into the same background noise of the Earth, the same low-frequency hum that blankets the planet. If so, perhaps a dream is not merely a story told by one mind, but an echo of something larger, a pattern whispered by nature itself. Carl Jung described the collective unconscious as a reservoir of shared human experience, from which symbols and narratives arise spontaneously. Though modern neuroscience does not adopt Jung's metaphysics, there is poetic truth in his idea that minds may be less isolated than they seem. As Neil Gaiman once wrote, "Dreams shape the world, and the world shapes dreams." And in certain moments those shapes overlap. Imagine consciousness not as a sealed chamber but as a coastline, each wave representing a person's private thoughts, yet all waves connected by the same ocean. When the tide shifts, multiple shores feel it at once. When the sky darkens, the rhythm of the entire sea changes. Perhaps shared dreams are simply the human mind responding to collective tides we do not yet understand. Sleep researchers have noted that during REM sleep, the boundaries of the self become remarkably porous. Emotional centers fire intensely, symbolic processing heightens, and the prefrontal cortex, the seat of rational separation, temporarily loosens its grip. In this state, the brain is both deeply vulnerable and profoundly open. It is here, in this liminal openness, that spontaneous synchronicities may arise. It is here that two strangers might briefly step into the same imagined corridor, shaped by shared emotional truths, rather than shared geography. And yet the beauty of shared dreams lies not in their explanation, but in their suggestion that human minds may be threads of a much larger tapestry. If two dreamers can meet in a place that neither has ever seen while awake, then perhaps consciousness is not merely an isolated spark, but a constellation of lights, each flickering independently yet subtly aware of the others. Think of the implications. If our dreams can converge even fleetingly, what else might be connected? Our intuitions, our creativity. The sudden emergence of the same idea in two distant minds. History is full of simultaneous discoveries, multiples as scientists call them, where breakthroughs occur independently within days or weeks. Might the sleeping mind tap into the same underlying networks that allow ideas to bloom in parallel across the globe? These questions do not demand immediate answers. As the physicist Richard Feynman once said, "I think it's much more interesting to live not knowing than to have answers which might be wrong." Mystery is not a flaw in our model of the universe. It is an invitation to keep looking, keep wondering, keep feeling our way through the dark. As you breathe slowly and let your shoulders sink into rest, imagine the world as a vast landscape of interconnected minds. Imagine millions of dreamers drifting into sleep each night, their thoughts rising like lanterns into the sky. Some drift alone, some collide softly, and some without ever intending to shine in harmony. Shared dreams do not ask us to believe in telepathy or mystical forces. They simply remind us that the universe is a place of patterns, surprises, and gentle convergences. And sometimes in the quiet space between one breath and the next, those patterns align in ways too beautiful to ignore. Now, as we follow these subtle patterns deeper into the unknown, let us turn our attention to a mystery shimmering far beyond Earth, the strange coded flickering of distant stars. Far beyond the boundaries of our solar system, past the soft golden glow of our own sun, and into the deeper bluer darkness of the galaxy, there are stars that behave in ways no textbook ever prepared us for. Most stars shimmer with a rhythm we can predict, a pulse shaped by temperature, pressure, rotation, or orbiting companions. But a few of them scattered like enigmatic beacons across the Milky Way flicker in patterns so strange, so block-like and deliberate that they feel almost encoded. Imagine lying beneath a clear night sky, your breath a gentle cloud in the cool air as you look up into the silence. Among the countless points of light, one star dims sharply, then brightens again, not in a smooth wave, but in abrupt geometric steps like someone flicking a cosmic switch. Then it happens again, but not at the same interval. Instead, the pattern repeats with a mathematical complexity no simple orbiting planet could produce. Astronomers call these objects anomalous variable stars. Their changes in brightness cannot be explained by dust clouds drifting across them, because dust dims light smoothly like gauze drawn over a lamp. These stars dim in segments, crisp, unexpected drops that resemble the passing of an enormous structured object. Yet when telescopes scan their surroundings, nothing appears. No planets large enough, no debris dense enough, no natural cycles that match the pattern. It is as if the universe is tapping out a sequence in Morse code and we're only now learning to listen. The most famous of these is often referred to as Tabby's star, a star whose brightness once dropped by nearly 22%, an amount impossible for a planet to cause. For scale Jupiter, our largest world would dim the sun by only 1% if viewed from afar. To produce a dip so dramatic, something colossal would need to pass in front of the star, and not just once, but in irregular intervals, each with a unique signature. Some researchers suggested clouds of comet fragments. Others speculated internal stellar processes unknown to current physics. A few whispered a more daring thought. Perhaps a structure, something vast and artificial like the hypothetical Dyson swarms imagined in theoretical astrophysics. Of course, science proceeds with caution. It gathers data, tests hypotheses, eliminates the improbable, and follows the evidence even when the path is winding. Most astronomers agree that natural explanations are far more likely than artifacts of alien engineering, yet the patterns remain jagged, deliberate, too organized to ignore. They remind us of what Arthur C. Clarke meant when he wrote, "Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic." Even if the cause is entirely natural, our encounter with it feels like a meeting with the impossible. To understand why these flickers feel so meaningful, imagine what a normal light curve looks like. Stars expand and contract over predictable cycles, glowing brighter, then dimming smoothly. Binary stars eclipse one another in perfect repeating intervals. Dust softens their light like a dimmer sliding downward. But these anomalous stars behave almost like heartbeat monitors, sudden drops, flat lines of dimness, uneven recoveries, and then silence before the pattern begins again. Their irregularity is their mystery. Some astrophysicists have begun modelling what kind of natural forces might produce such patterns. One idea suggests that the star may be shedding material in clumps, releasing fragments of its surface into orbit. Another proposes that a ring of disrupted planetary debris might be moving chaotically around it, casting unpredictable shadows. And yet none of these models fully match the clean, block-like geometric dimming that telescopes have captured. This is the quiet beauty of cosmic mystery. Even with advanced data, we stand before the unknown with childlike wonder. In the soft glow of midnight with a cup of warm tea in your hands, it feels peaceful to admit that the universe still holds puzzles too large for our current science and too elegant to dismiss. Now imagine the star itself burning millions of light years away, its light traveling across cosmic dust, nebulae, and gravitational currents just to reach your eyes. Every flicker we detect happened centuries, even millennia, before humans existed to record it. We are witnessing a message written long before we learned to read light. Our understanding, though incomplete, is an act of listening across time. And while astronomers continue to refine their models, many admit in rare moments of honesty that these stars evoke something deeper, an intuition that the cosmos is more layered than we realize. A universe capable of producing such precise strangeness may be operating with rules we have not yet imagined. It is a reminder that even in the age of space, telescopes and gravitational wave detectors, mystery is not a relic of the past. It is woven into the very fabric of existence. The flickering of encoded light also raises a profound question. Why do humans instinctively feel meaning in patterns? Our brains evolved to seek order in the world, the alignment of stars, the rhythm of waves, the migrations of seasons. When we see a star dim in steps, our minds lean forward, attentive, ready to decode. Not because we hope for extraordinary answers, but because pattern itself is a form of communication. It is how the universe reveals its structure piece by piece. You can imagine these stars as cosmic storytellers, distant narrators tapping out tales in brightness and shadow. And as you sink deeper into relaxation, it becomes easier to let go of the need for an answer. Sometimes the most calming thought is not what causes the flicker, but simply that the galaxy still contains this much wonder. You do not need to solve the mystery tonight. You only need to let its quiet strangeness comfort you. In the vastness of the cosmos, where stars behave like lanterns flickering in coded rhythms, there is a sense of profound connectedness, an assurance that the universe still has secrets, and that those secrets are gentle, not threatening. They are invitations to dream more boldly, to explore more deeply, to rest more fully in the unknown. And as we follow the path carved by these shimmering enigmas, we now drift from the sky back down to Earth, where the very oceans themselves sometimes glow with a mysterious light that science still struggles to explain. Far out on the open ocean, in places so remote that no lighthouse or coastline interrupts the horizon, sailors have long reported a phenomenon as gentle as it is bewildering, an ocean that glows not in sparks or flashes, but in a soft, continuous radiance. They call it the Milky Sea, a vast expanse of water, sometimes hundreds of kilometers wide, shining with a pale uniform light, as though moonlight had dissolved directly into the waves. Most bioluminescent displays in the ocean are lively and scattered shimmering blue sparks that flare when waves break or when fish dart through the water. These are caused by dinoflagellates, tiny organisms that emit brief pulses of light when disturbed. But Milky Seas are different. Their glow is steady, calm, relentlessly uniform, even when the water is still, even when no living shapes churn the dark. Imagine yourself on a quiet deck in the middle of the Indian Ocean. The world around you is ink black. Above you the sky stretches like velvet sewn with distant stars. The air is warm, the sea quiet. Then you notice something unusual. The water beneath you is glowing. Not shimmering or flickering, but glowing with the soft whiteness of a lantern wrapped in silk. The glow expands in every direction as far as your eyes can reach, a luminous plane merging with the invisible horizon. Some sailors say it feels like floating on a frozen galaxy. Others say it resembles drifting through a dream. One early captain simply wrote in his log, "The sea was a light milky, as though sailing through liquid starlight." For centuries, these descriptions were dismissed as exaggerations or illusions. But satellite imaging in recent decades has confirmed that Milky Seas are real and shockingly large. Some glows captured from orbit stretch across 15,000 square kilometers, larger than the entire state of Connecticut. And yet, despite modern detection, the source of their light remains elusive. One hypothesis proposes that vast blooms of bacteria, particularly Vibrio harveying, could emit continuous glow under specific environmental conditions. But typical bacterial bioluminescence is faint and patchy, nowhere near strong enough to illuminate the surface for hundreds of kilometers. Moreover, the uniformity of Milky Seas is unlike anything bacteria normally produce. Bacterial light flickers, shifts and pulses, but the glow of a Milky Sea is eerily constant, like a cosmic backlight beneath the waves. Another idea suggests chemical reactions triggered by unusual mixes of organic material, pressure and temperature. Yet no experiment in the laboratory has successfully recreated the sustained, featureless illumination described by sailors and satellites alike. Some scientists compare the mystery to strange atmospheric phenomena, such as sprites or blue jets, events that were dismissed for decades until better instrumentation revealed their true nature. Perhaps the oceans, like the sky, hold their own version of unexplained electrical or chemical dynamics. But if so, the mechanism remains stubbornly hidden even from modern sensors. It is comforting to imagine that the oceans still keep secrets from us. That in an age of satellites and deep-sea drones, there remain stretches of our own planet that refuse to reveal their workings. The sea has always been a mirror to the cosmos, vast, dark and filled with surprises. And Milky Seas embody that connection perfectly, a planetary phenomenon that behaves more like a nebula than like a biological glow. Some oceanographers describe the phenomenon poetically. They say a Milky Sea is Earth's quiet aurora, a gentle reminder that luminosity isn't limited to stars. The glow of a Milky Sea rising from below rather than shining from above feels like the planet whispering through light instead of sound. And perhaps that whisper carries a message that even in familiar environments, water, waves, salt, wind, there are processes we have not yet imagined. Mystery is not reserved for galaxies and black holes. It resides here too in the rolling darkness of our oceans. Imagine gliding through such a sea. The hull of your boat cuts through glowing water like a brushstroke of silver paint. Every ripple shines. Every swirl of wake opens into a brilliant bloom. And there is no sound but the gentle rhythm of waves tapping against the wood. It's as if the night itself has surrendered, allowing the sea to borrow its silence and illuminate the world from below. If you listen deeply enough, you might feel as though you are floating not on water, but on memory, the earth, remembering something ancient, something it chooses to reveal only rarely. The quietness of a Milky Sea is different from ordinary quiet. It feels intentional, soft, timeless. It invites reflection, not explanation. Science will one day uncover the full mechanism behind this glow, perhaps through sample collection, autonomous sensors, or advanced spectroscopy from orbit. But even then, understanding does not erase wonder. If anything, it deepens it. As Carl Sagan once wrote, somewhere something incredible is waiting to be known. The Milky Sea is one of those somethings serene, immense, and patiently waiting. As you relax into the rhythm of these thoughts, imagine that glowing ocean once more. Its vastness, its calmness, its gentle defiance of our expectations. Let that image soften your breath, ease your mind, and remind you that not all puzzles are meant to be solved immediately. Some mysteries are meant to lull us, to soothe us, to quietly accompany us into rest. And now, as we leave the luminous waters behind, we turn our attention to another place, where nature behaves strangely, a valley where compasses spin, and magnetic fields shift in ways that science has yet to fully understand. There are places on Earth where the landscape seems to breathe with its own quiet strangeness. Valleys tucked between mountains wrapped in mist and silence, where the familiar laws of navigation begin to soften. Travelers who enter these valleys often carry simple tools, a compass, a map, a sense of direction refined by instinct. But inside these secluded pockets of terrain, one of those tools falters. The compass needle, usually so obedient to Earth's magnetic field, begins to tremble, then turn, then spin in irregular circles as if searching for a truth it can no longer find. These valleys are rare, scattered across continents from remote parts of Asia to forgotten regions of South America. They share no common shape, climate, or elevation. Some are lush with vegetation, others carved in stone and shadow. Yet they have one thing in common, a magnetic behavior that defies the expectations of modern geology. Imagine standing in one of these valleys just before dusk. The air is cool, the scent of moss and soil rising from the ground. Above you, tall cliffs create a natural amphitheater that amplifies even the faintest echo. You take out your compass, expecting the needle to settle naturally into its northward pull. But instead it hesitates, quivers, then begins to swing in a slow, confused arc. Left, right, then faster spinning like a thought that cannot settle. Scientists call these anomalies local magnetic deviations, but the phenomenon is more delicate and complicated than that name suggests. Under normal conditions, Earth's magnetic field is shaped by the molten iron, moving deep within the outer core, a powerful planetary engine known as the geodynamo. This dynamo produces a magnetic field that sweeps across the entire planet, guiding migratory animals, stabilizing atmospheric chemistry, and even shielding Earth from solar wind. Yet certain valleys appear to have their own magnetic personalities, as though the ground remembers something the rest of the planet has forgotten. One explanation explores the possibility of magnetized minerals hidden beneath the surface. Rocks rich in iron oxide or magnetite can distort the local field in surprising ways. When these minerals cool and crystallize in unusual patterns, often due to volcanic activity millions of years ago, they can freeze ancient magnetic orientations into place. These fossilized magnetic signatures can interfere with a compass, pulling the needle into misalignment. But even this explanation fails to satisfy fully. In some valleys, no such mineral concentrations are present. The geological surveys show nothing unusual, yet the compass needles keep spinning. In other places, the anomalies shift subtly from year to year, as if the valley's magnetic character itself evolves over time. Another theory suggests that variations in underground electrical currents triggered by groundwater movement or tectonic stress might be producing temporary magnetic distortions. These geoelectric currents can bend the magnetic field in localized pockets, creating miniature zones where navigation becomes impossible. But this too only partially explains the phenomenon. The magnitude of compass deviations in some valleys far exceeds what simple currents should cause. Some researchers entertain a more expansive view that these valleys are windows into the complexity of Earth's magnetosphere, the invisible shield that surrounds our planet and interacts with cosmic radiation. They propose that certain topographies may focus magnetic field lines in unexpected ways, producing local turbulence similar to eddies in a river. While elegant, this idea remains difficult to test. And then there is the most poetic possibility, the one scientists mention only in whispers, that Earth itself may have rhythms and patterns too subtle to map, too ancient to categorize. As the physicist John Wheeler once said, "We are no longer satisfied to explain the world. We want to understand it. Valleys where compasses spin are reminders that understanding requires patience and sometimes humility. If you imagine yourself walking deeper into one of these valleys, you might notice that the air feels different, not threatening, simply unfamiliar. Birds circle overhead following pathways you cannot see. Leaves flutter without a breeze. The world grows strangely quiet, as if the valley is waiting for you to listen. The spinning compass in your hand suddenly feels symbolic, a suggestion that direction is not always linear, that sometimes the earth invites us to wander without knowing the way. For centuries, indigenous peoples living near these anomalous landscapes have described them not as dangerous, but as sacred. Places where the boundary between the physical and the unseen feels thinner, where the earth's invisible forces reveal themselves through moments of gentle confusion. These cultures did not fear the spinning needle, they respected it. They saw it as the valley's way of speaking. In the modern world, saturated with GPS satellites and geospatial models, there is something soothing about a phenomenon that resists digitization. The compass spinning wildly in a quiet valley reminds us that our instruments are only extensions of ourselves, and that even the most advanced tools have limits. The Earth does not always behave in predictable ways. Sometimes it surprises us with beauty, strangeness, and a hint of the ancient. As you breathe slowly and let these images settle in your mind, imagine placing the compass back in your pocket. The valley hums quietly, mist drifts between the trees. You're not lost, you're simply in a place where direction is meant to be felt rather than measured. The mystery of magnetic valleys is not meant to unsettle you. It is meant to soothe, to remind you that the world is still full of gentle enigmas that soften our confidence in straight lines and remind us that wandering is part of being human. If you let the uncertainty wash over you, you may find a kind of peace in it, a sense that not every question needs an answer tonight. And now, carrying this sense of quiet curiosity with us, we step from these strange magnetic valleys into the cool depths of the ancient forest, where moving pockets of cold air drift like spirits between the trees, revealing yet another secret the natural world keeps softly to itself. Deep within the ancient forests of our world, the ones that have stood for centuries untouched by storms, wars, and the footsteps of countless generations, there exists a quiet phenomenon that feels both subtle and astonishing. These forests, rich with moss-covered trunks, towering canopies, and the earthy perfume of decomposing leaves, often cradle drifting pockets of cold air. Not the cold that settles beneath shade or follows a breeze down a slope, but cold that moves softly, slowly, as though it has intention. These cold spots glide through the undergrowth like invisible spirits brushing past your skin with a sudden chill that vanishes as quickly as it appears. Imagine yourself standing in one of these old-growth sanctuaries. The air is still, the forest floor muffled by centuries of fallen needles. Sunlight filters through layers of leaves in thin golden ribbons. Birds call in distant intervals, their songs echoing faintly between trunks. Everything is calm, and then without warning, a small wave of cold air drifts past your face. Not a gust, not a breeze, simply a concentrated floating patch of coolness moving independently of wind or shadow. Scientists studying microclimates in these forests have measured temperature variations that defy simple explanation. Typically, cold air sinks and pools in low places following the contours of the land. But in these ancient woods, cold pockets appear in mid-air, maintaining their shape as they drift unaffected by sunlight or surrounding thermal conditions. Portable sensors sometimes record dips of 3 to 7 degrees Celsius in areas barely a meter across a temperature signature, too precise to be random. One explanation points to thermal gradients created by decaying wood, which can release moisture and cause localized cooling. Another suggests small-scale convection cells invisible to the eye, but capable of producing drifting temperature pockets. Yet neither explanation fully accounts for the mobility of these cold spots. Even in controlled simulations, the patches should disperse quickly, yet in the forest they linger drifting like gentle phantoms between branches. Part of the mystery lies in the structure of old-growth forests themselves. Their canopies form complex layers that filter sunlight in irregular patterns, creating a mosaic of warm and cool air. Their trunks rise like living pillars, shaping airflow in ways that modern climate models struggle to capture. In these preserved ecosystems, nature behaves with a quiet sophistication honed over thousands of years. The drifting cold spots may simply be the forest's version of a natural whisper, the subtle interplay of humidity, temperature, and airflow moving in harmony. But there is also something poetic in their presence. Ancient forests are repositories of memory. They store carbon from centuries past, hold soil that has taken millennia to form and shelter species that once roamed before human civilization began. Standing among them feels like standing inside a living library. Every creak, every rustle, every shift of air seems to tell a story older than language. When a cold patch glides past, it feels like the forest acknowledging your presence, not with sound, but with sensation. Indigenous communities around the world have long described these cold spots in their own way. Some believe they represent ancestral spirits passing by, guardians watching over the forest. Others interpret them as signs of balance areas where the energies of the land move differently. While science approaches the phenomenon with sensors and equations, these cultural interpretations remind us that not everything needs immediate decoding. Sometimes it is enough to feel the moment and let the mystery rest. What makes the drifting cold spots truly fascinating is their emotional effect. Even when the forest is warm, these patches evoke a gentle sense of wonder rather than fear. They are subtle enough to be missed if you're not paying attention, yet striking enough to linger in memory. They invite curiosity. How can air move with such intention? What invisible forces guide it? What stories does the forest still keep hidden? Modern atmospheric physics tells us that air is never truly still. It forms vortices, eddies, and microcurrents even in the calmest environments. The old-growth forest, with its intricate architecture of trunks and branches, creates a labyrinth for airflow, allowing unique pockets of temperature to form. Some researchers propose that these drifting cold spots may be microvortices, tiny whirlpools of air carrying cooler temperatures along pathways shaped by centuries of forest growth. And yet, even this explanation leaves gaps. The cold spots drift too smoothly, too silently, almost as if guided by an unseen hand. As you breathe gently and picture yourself among those towering trees, you might imagine the forest as a living organism, lungs of the earth, exhaling oxygen, inhaling carbon dioxide, maintaining balance through unseen rhythms. The drifting cold spots could be part of this rhythm, like breaths made visible through temperature. This idea may not be strictly scientific, but it carries a truth of feeling. The forest is alive and its life moves in ways we're only beginning to sense. There is a kind of serenity in accepting this, in letting the phenomenon wash through your awareness without insisting on a solution. As the writer Henry David Thoreau said, "We need the tonic of wildness," and perhaps the drifting cold spots are exactly that. A gentle tonic, a small reminder that wild places still hold mysteries untouched by human understanding. If you close your eyes, you can almost feel the cold moving through the ferns, brushing against your skin like a cool fingertip drifting onward to places unseen. It is both fleeting and grounding, a moment of quiet intimacy with nature so subtle that it feels like a shared secret. Let that feeling soften your thoughts. Let it calm the mind in the same way the forest calms the wind, gently, gradually and completely. And as we continue traveling deeper into the Earth's hidden wonders from these drifting chills beneath ancient trees, we now turn our attention downward to the planet's own steady, mysterious voice, the deep, continuous humming of the Earth itself. Hidden beneath the sounds of daily life, beneath the wind brushing through trees, beneath the distant rumble of oceans, beneath the quiet pulse of human civilization, there is a deeper, quieter voice that the Earth has always carried. It is a sound so low that the human ear cannot detect it, so constant that most instruments must strain to separate it from background noise. Scientists call it the Earth's hum, an ultra-low frequency vibration that travels through the ground and across the planet even when no earthquakes shake the crust and no storms batter the seas. Imagine placing your ear gently against the soil on a calm, windless day. You hear nothing, yet sensitive seismometers buried far beneath you detect something steady, a faint trembling like the slow breathing of a giant creature. This hum persists day and night across continents and seasons, untouched by weather, unaffected by human activity. It pulses with a uniformity that feels almost alive. To understand it, we must picture the Earth not as a solid, unmoving sphere, but as a vibrant, dynamic world where oceans, atmosphere, and crust continuously interact. Under the surface flows a sea of molten iron, churning in convective currents that generate the planet's magnetic field. Above, winds sweep across continents, waves crash upon shorelines, tectonic plates shift with ancient patience. These motions are immense, too immense to stop even for a second. And somewhere within this perpetual movement, the Earth finds a rhythm, a frequency at which it vibrates, like a colossal bell struck very softly. One of the earliest clues to this phenomenon appeared in the 1990s, when seismologists noticed persistent signals in their data signals that did not match known earthquakes or volcanic activity. At first, many believed they were errors on artifacts of malfunctioning equipment, but as more observatories across the world detected the same vibration, the idea became impossible to dismiss. Something was humming quietly and endlessly. Today, researchers know that much of the hum likely arises from the interaction between ocean waves and the seafloor. When waves collide, they sometimes create pressure that resonates downward through the crust, producing faint but persistent vibrations. Another contributor may be atmospheric turbulence, where shifts in air pressure push against the Earth's surface like an enormous hand pressing and releasing in slow motion. And yet, despite these insights, the full explanation continues to escape us. Some aspects of the hum are too uniform to be explained by random wave interactions. Other parts fluctuate in ways that do not align with seasonal wind patterns. Some frequencies appear unexpectedly stable, like the reverberation of a carefully tuned instrument. As the physicist Freeman Dyson once said, "The universe is not only stranger than we imagine, it is stranger than we can imagine." The Earth's hum embodies this strangeness, gentle, continuous, and not entirely understood. If you visualize the planet from space turning slowly within the darkness, you might imagine invisible ripples traveling through the crust, circling endlessly from pole to pole. These ripples are not strong enough to shake buildings or move oceans, but they form a quiet heartbeat, a steady whisper beneath every continent. They remind us that planets, like living beings, express themselves not only through dramatic events like earthquakes and eruptions, but through subtle, constant motion. Some scientists have speculated about deeper origins. Could magma circulation within the mantle generate long-period vibrations? Could gravitational interactions with the moon shape the hum just as tides shape the oceans? Could there be unknown resonances within the crust itself, waiting for more advanced instruments to reveal them? These questions remain open, resting gently at the edge of our understanding. There is something profoundly calming about this. In a world where so much feels chaotic and hurried, the idea of a planet humming softly, serenely, without interruption, offers a kind of comfort. It suggests a rhythm larger than ourselves, one that continues no matter what happens on the surface, a rhythm that predates humanity and will outlast us. If you allow yourself to imagine feeling the hum, you might picture standing barefoot on cool stone, sensing a vibration so subtle that it feels like memory rather than movement, or lying in a grassy field at night, the stars turning slowly overhead, while the earth beneath you murmurs gently like a lullaby sung in frequencies too deep for the ear. This is not a sound meant to be heard. It is meant to be felt, a reminder that we are connected to the planet not only through gravity and biology, but through vibration. This idea finds echoes in many cultural traditions. Some indigenous communities believe the earth has a voice, a song that resonates through everything living. Others describe the ground as carrying ancestral memory, holding the stories of those who walked before us. Though these interpretations differ from scientific models, they share a truth: the earth is not silent and never has been. Even modern researchers acknowledge the poetic nature of this phenomenon. In scientific papers where language is usually precise and measured, you will sometimes find phrases like Earth's persistent free oscillations or the continuous background hum. These terms, while technical, quietly admit that the Earth behaves like an instrument, one we are still learning to play. And perhaps this is why the hum feels so soothing. It is the Earth's promise of continuity, a quiet presence beneath our feet, a frequency that wraps the planet in a gentle, unending vibration, reminding us that we belong to something vast and ancient. So as you breathe slowly and let your body soften, imagine this hum as a soft blanket of sound surrounding the world. Let it lull your thoughts into stillness. Let it remind you that mystery and comfort often walk hand in hand. And now, carrying this sense of deep tranquility, we drift from the planet's quiet inner voice to another curious rhythm stones on the Earth's surface that pulse with complex, unexplained energy patterns of their own. Across the quiet landscapes of our planet, from windswept plateaus to ancient riverbeds, there lie stones that behave in ways far stranger than their simple appearance suggests. Most rocks are passive witnesses to time. They erode, they fracture, they collect sunlight and release it as warmth. But a rare few appear to do something different. They pulse, not with heat, not with pressure. but with energy patterns, delicate repeating signals that ripple outward in cycles too complex to be explained by ordinary physics such as thermal expansion or piezoelectric charge. Imagine standing before one of these stones in the late afternoon when the sun begins to soften and the shadows of the world grow long. The rock is unremarkable at first glance, a smooth surface perhaps veined with quartz or flecked with mineral grains. But place a sensitive sensor, or in some cases even the palm of your hand, near its surface, and you may sense something subtle, a faint pulse like a heartbeat slowed to geological time. Scientists first detected such anomalies using magnetometers and low-frequency electromagnetic instruments. The readings were baffling oscillations emerging in repeatable cycles, sometimes every few minutes, sometimes in hourly or daily patterns. The signals were too regular to be random noise and too persistent to be dismissed as coincidence. What makes this phenomenon truly mysterious is that these stones are not located near power lines, underground aquifers, or seismic faults, places where electromagnetic activity might ordinarily arise. Instead, they rest in open terrain exposed to sky and soil, behaving as though they are quietly communicating with something beyond our current models. One hypothesis proposes that deep crustal stress may travel upward through layers of rock, concentrating in the minerals that are more conductive or piezoelectric. In this scenario, shifting tectonic pressure could create microcurrents which then pulse outward in regular intervals. Yet the regularity of the cycles defies this idea. The Earth's crust is dynamic, yes, but not rhythmic. Its movements are rarely steady enough to generate such clean, repeating patterns. Another possibility considers the role of mineral lattices. Quartz feldspar and certain iron-rich stones respond subtly to fluctuations in geomagnetic fields. If a stone's internal structure is aligned in just the right way, it might act like a natural resonator, a small instrument tuned to the symphony of Earth's magnetic activity. But even then, the cycles measured in some stones do not line up with known fluctuations in the geomagnetic environment. Something more is at play. And yet another theory, more speculative but intriguing, suggests that temperature gradients from day to night could generate charges within certain minerals. But again, the pulses persist even underground, shielded from thermal variation. These stones release signals on cloudy days during winter, and sometimes even underwater, eliminating thermal expansion as a primary cause. It is here in the space where scientific models fall short that the phenomenon becomes profoundly soothing. Not because it is mystical, but because it invites us to imagine the Earth as something more than rock and soil, a planet rich with invisible rhythms, cycles, and patterns we have not yet learned to read. Picture yourself sitting beside one of these stones at twilight. The forest behind you is quiet. The air carries a gentle coolness. The stone sits in stillness. Yet within it something moves, a slow, quiet oscillation that feels ancient, patient, and deliberate. If you could listen deeply enough, perhaps you would hear it as a low, steady song. As poet Mary Oliver once wrote, "Every stone is a story." And in this case, that story seems to unfold through energy instead of words. Some cultures speak of stones as living beings, slow but perceptive. Others describe them as archives of time holding memories in their layers. While science does not personify them in this way, there is beauty in acknowledging that rocks forged by volcanic fire, carved by ice, shaped by pressure, contain within them a kind of quiet intelligence, a structural memory capable of responding to the world in delicate patterns. One of the most remarkable findings in recent studies is that these pulses sometimes correlate with global phenomena. During strong solar winds or subtle fluctuations in Earth's magnetosphere, the stone's cycles shift slightly, as though they are tuning themselves to the planet's larger rhythms. This sensitivity hints at a connection between the micro and macro, a pebble responding to the sky, a rock vibrating in sympathy with the universe. If this idea feels poetic rather than scientific, remember that resonance is a fundamental property of reality. Planets resonate, stars resonate, magnetic fields resonate, even atoms resonate. That stones might resonate too quietly, slowly, humbly, is not so strange after all. Let yourself absorb this thought. The Earth hums and its stones may hum with it. The pulses are not a warning or a threat. They are simply part of the world's natural conversation, too subtle for most of us to hear. Their mystery lies not in danger, but in calm persistence. Like the rhythm of waves, the whisper of trees, or the movement of stars, these energy pulses remind us that the universe is alive with patterns even in its smallest details. As you sink further into relaxation, imagine placing your hand on such a stone. You do not need to feel anything dramatic. Maybe just a faint coolness, a stillness, a suggestion of movement beneath the surface. Let that subtle possibility bring comfort, the idea that the earth is gently speaking, not loudly, but in the quietest vibration. And now, holding on to this sense of subtle motion, we move from solid ground to shifting sand to deserts, where even in complete stillness, strange whispering voices rise from dunes shaped by forces we have only begun to understand. In the vast sun-washed silence of the world's deserts, where the horizon stretches unbroken and time seems to slow into a single endless breath, there are moments when the sand itself begins to speak. These landscapes, sculpted by wind, softened by heat, and ancient beyond imagining, hold a secret that has puzzled travelers and scientists alike. Whispering dunes, places where soft murmuring sounds drift through the air even when no wind touches the surface. Imagine standing atop a dune just after sunset. The day's heat has dissolved into a gentle coolness, and the shadows deepen into purple and gold. The air is utterly still, so still that even your heartbeat feels loud. And then from somewhere within the dune, not above you, not beside you, but within, a faint sound begins. It resembles a distant voice or the low murmur of conversation drifting through walls. It rises, fades, returns again in looping patterns, as if the desert itself were exhaling stories from deep beneath the sand. Scientists once believed these sounds were caused solely by grains sliding against one another, microscopic collisions producing frictional vibrations. But whispering dunes behave differently from ordinary sand. The sounds they emit are too melodic, too sustained, too structured. Some dunes sing at specific frequencies like natural musical instruments. Others emit soft whispers that travel surprisingly far, carrying across valleys and ridges. The mystery deepens when these voices emerge without any visible movement. No wind, no shifting slope, no sign of disturbance. Yet the murmuring continues like a hidden dialogue between the dune and the sky. Traditional explanations focus on grain properties. Whispering sands often have unusually smooth spherical grains coated with thin layers of silica. When many such grains move together, they can resonate like vibrating crystals. Laboratory experiments confirm that sliding sand can indeed produce tones, even loud ones. But these models do not fully account for the spontaneous windless whispers reported in remote deserts from the Sahara to the Gobi to the coasts of Oman. Some researchers propose that thermal gradients within the dune may trigger microscopic avalanches hidden beneath the surface, as the top layers cool after sunset while deeper layers retain heat. Tiny collapses may occur in the subsurface, producing vibrations that ripple upward as sound. Yet even this fails to explain the desert's more ethereal effects. The eerie impression of voices, the directional illusion, the feeling that something unseen is moving within the sand. There is a poetic truth in how we perceive sound. Humans are finely tuned to voices. Our brains are deeply sensitive to tonal patterns. When we hear certain frequencies or rhythmic modulations, our minds instinctively interpret them as speech-like. So perhaps the desert whispers not because it intends to, but because the sounds it produces mimic the cadence of language itself. The murmuring dunes in this sense become accidental storytellers, but many explorers insist there is more to the experience. The whispers feel intentional, rhythmic, layered like overlapping strands of sound woven by an invisible hand. Some indigenous traditions speak of desert spirits, guardians of the dunes who converse in quiet tones. Others believe the sand holds memory, echoing the movements of ancient caravans or the songs of long-forgotten travelers. While science does not endorse these interpretations, they reveal something essential. Human beings sense meaning in the desert's silence, and the whispers become part of its living mythology. Picture yourself walking gently along the ridge of a whispering dune. The sand shifts softly beneath your feet. A faint hum rises again, low, smooth, almost like a cello played from hundreds of meters away. The sound is omnidirectional. You cannot pinpoint its source. It seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The desert sky deepens to indigo. Stars begin to bloom overhead. The air is cool and still, yet the dune continues to murmur, as though speaking in a language older than words. Acoustic physicists have studied whispering dunes with sensitive equipment. They found that some dunes emit frequencies in the range of 80 to 120 Hz frequencies the human body feels as much as hears. Stand long enough in such a place, and you may sense a soft vibration running up your legs and into your chest, a resonance that feels strangely comforting, like being held in the Earth's gentle embrace. This soothing effect is not unlike listening to low-frequency cosmic phenomena, the hum of black holes merging the whisper of cosmic background radiation, or the delicate oscillations of magnetospheres. Just as the universe has its quiet songs, so too does the desert. And in these songs there is peace, depth, stability. It is humbling to realize that even something as simple as sand quartz, feldspar fragments of ancient mountains ground into grains, can produce one of the world's most mysterious acoustic events. It reminds us of Carl Sagan's words, "Somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known." The desert whispers are precisely that, an invitation to listen more deeply, to notice what lies beneath the surface of the ordinary. The beauty of this phenomenon is that it does not demand understanding. It simply exists, offering a gentle reminder of nature's capacity for subtlety. The whispers carry no threat, no urgency. They comfort, they lull, they turn the vast emptiness of the desert into a cradle of sound, quiet, ancient and endlessly patient. As you breathe slowly now, imagine yourself lying at the base of a dune. The sky above is brilliant with stars. The sand beneath you retains the day's warmth, contrasting tenderly with the cool night air. In the distance, a soft whisper rises and falls like a lullaby carried by the land itself. You feel small, but in a peaceful way, part of something vast, rhythmic and interconnected. Let that sensation ease your mind. Let it soften your thoughts the way wind softens the crest of a dune. The world is large, mysterious, and filled with gentle wonders. You do not need to solve them tonight. You only need to listen. And now, following the trail of these quiet earthly murmurs, we turn our ears to the sky, to strange repeating bursts of radiolight from distant galaxies, whose patterned rhythms pose yet another mystery the universe quietly offers. Across the immense darkness between galaxies, a darkness so deep that even starlight seems fragile within it, there are signals that arrive at Earth as sudden, delicate taps of radio energy. They are called fast radio bursts, or FRBs, brilliant flashes of radio light that last for only a thousandth of a second before vanishing again into the cosmic quiet. Most FRBs erupt once and never repeat like cosmic lightning, but a select few behave differently. They return, they pulse. They follow rhythms so steady, so deliberate that they feel almost like messages written in the physics of the universe itself. Imagine a distant galaxy turning slowly in the night. Billions of stars swirl in luminous spirals, each one burning with its own story. Somewhere deep within that galaxy, perhaps near a neutron star or beside a magnetic anomaly, we cannot yet imagine, a flash appears, a sharp, bright burst that lights up radio telescopes across Earth. Then, days later, it happens again and again. Not randomly, not chaotically, but in cycles. Every 16 days, every 131 seconds, every 3.4 hours. Each FRB system has its own rhythm, like a cosmic heartbeat. Astronomers have catalogued dozens of these repeating bursts, and many exhibit exquisite patterns. Some generate clusters of flashes, then fall silent, then reawaken exactly on schedule. Others emit paired bursts, two rapid pulses separated by a precise interval, as though the source is rotating with mathematical consistency. These behaviors do not resemble any known stellar phenomenon. Supernovae explode once. Black holes flicker with irregular variability. Pulsars rotate steadily, but their signals differ in shape. Magnetars flare unpredictably, and yet FRBs continue to arrive following patterns that feel purposeful, even if the purpose is strictly natural. The scientific community approaches this with caution and curiosity. Researchers propose models involving binary star systems where a neutron star orbits a companion whose stellar wind modulates the radio emission. Others explore precessing magnetars whose magnetic axes wobble like a spinning top. Yet none of these models fully explains the most rhythmic FRBs, especially those that display complex multi-tiered periodicity. Their behavior suggests a repeating engine shaped by forces we have not yet described. But beyond the mechanics, there is something deeply soothing in the idea of repeating signals reaching us from galaxies millions of light years away. It means the universe speaks in patterns. It breathes in cycles. It hums with cosmic order, even in places we will never visit. Picture yourself reclining beneath a clear night sky. The stars shine quietly, each one sending its ancient light to you across time. Somewhere behind that sky, far beyond what the eye can see, FRBs pulse with soft insistence like lanterns flickering on a distant shore. Their voices are too faint to hear directly, too brief to affect the senses, but if translated into sound, they might resemble a gentle metronome marking the passage of cosmic time. There is comfort in knowing that even in the universe's most remote corners, rhythm exists. Even in the cold, the void, the silence, something beats with regularity. Something repeats, something persists. The philosopher Alan Watts once said, "You are the aperture through which the universe is looking at and exploring itself." When we detect FRBs, this idea feels profoundly true. We are not just observers, we are participants in a cosmic conversation, one that transcends language, culture, and species. FRBs are not sentient messages, but they are messages nonetheless, signatures of processes that remind us how large, how intricate, and how strangely coordinated the universe can be. Some people wonder whether ours could be artificial products of civilizations weaving energy through space in ways we cannot yet imagine. While mainstream science maintains that natural explanations are far more likely, the idea is not dismissed outright. After all, humanity itself once built lighthouses, beacons, and signals that pulsed into the night. Perhaps somewhere far away another civilization does the same, not to reach us, but simply because they exist. Whether natural or artificial, FSSOs share one crucial trait: they are beautifully, elegantly mysterious. They remind us that the cosmos is not empty. It is alive with forces that act with precision, with intention shaped not by consciousness, but by physics, a physics we are still learning to decipher. As you breathe gently and sink deeper into relaxation, imagine those bursts traveling across unimaginable distances. For millions of years they cross nebulae, pass through interstellar dust, skim the edges of magnetic fields, and curve around the gravity wells of distant stars. And then finally they reach Earth, whispering into our radio telescopes with the faintest touch of energy, a signal so small yet carrying the weight of cosmic history. This is the calming beauty of astronomy, the idea that connection can exist across distance, that patterns can arise from chaos, that meaning can be felt even when the mechanism is unknown. Let the thought ease your mind. Somewhere out there, a star or a magnetar or something stranger is pulsing right now, sending waves of light across the universe, and you are here to know it. As we drift deeper into these mysteries, our attention now turns from the heavens back to Earth, to caves that glow with soft, sourceless light, revealing yet another gentle puzzle hidden within nature's quietest places. Deep beneath the surface of the Earth, where sunlight has never touched, and silence settles like fine dust, there are caves that possess a quiet magic of their own. These caverns, ancient, solemn, carved by water and time, sometimes emit a faint floating glow, not the sharp sparkle of crystals, not the shimmer of reflected light, and not the green-blue pulse of bioluminescent insects. Instead, this glow appears to originate from the cave itself, as though the rock were dreaming in soft illumination. Imagine stepping into such a cavern. The air is cool, thick with the scent of minerals and damp stone. Every sound you make, a breath, a footstep, the gentle brushing of your clothing, echoes back with a round, tender hush. As you move deeper into the darkness, your lantern dims, or perhaps you turn it off entirely, and then you see it a faint radiance hovering along the walls, bathing the cavern in a delicate pearl-like glow. It is not bright enough to cast shadows, yet luminous enough to guide your steps with quiet certainty. Scientists who study these glowing caves have offered several hypotheses, but none yet fully explain the phenomenon. One idea suggests that trace minerals in the rock may undergo low-level chemiluminescence, producing a soft glow as molecules interact over extremely long timescales. But typical chemiluminescent reactions fade quickly. The glow seen in these caves persists for days, years, or even centuries. Another theory explores triboluminescence, where mechanical stress causes materials to emit light. But deep within undisturbed caves, there is no friction or movement to drive such reactions. The glow remains even when vibrations are eliminated and external influences controlled. Some researchers have considered radioluminescence, where natural radiation from decaying isotopes excites atoms in surrounding minerals, causing them to emit faint light. While this can occur, the type of glow observed in these caves often lacks the spectral characteristics of radioluminescent emissions, and no consistent isotopic patterns have been found. Then there is the most subtle explanation, and perhaps the most beautiful, that certain crystalline structures within the cave walls may be capable of phosphorescence on geological timescales, storing ambient energy from past events such as lightning strikes, seismic activity, or long-forgotten geothermal pulses. These structures may release their stored energy in whispers rather than bursts, creating the gentle floating light experienced by explorers. Yet even this model falters when confronted with caves that glow, despite having no known exposure to past radiation or thermal extremes. The glow remains a mystery, soft, silent, and profoundly calming. Imagine sitting quietly inside such a cave. The glow around you is steady, serene, a kind of visual exhale. You feel small but not insignificant. The world outside fades into distance and the cave becomes a sanctuary of quiet time. In this place, the boundary between physical light and emotional warmth begins to blur. The glow seems alive, not in a literal sense, but in the way a candle flame feels alive, present, comforting, patient. There is something deeply human about our response to gentle light. From the earliest campfires to the first lanterns from star watching, to the glow of electronic screens, humans have always been soothed by illumination. Light tells us we are not alone. Light brings shape to the dark. Light extends a hand into the unknown. Perhaps this is why glowing caves captivate the imagination so strongly. They suggest that nature itself has created a quiet lantern hidden away in the Earth's deep corridors. A light with no flame, a glow without source, a whisper of luminosity that feels both ancient and somehow familiar. Some explorers describe the glow as breathing, rising and falling almost imperceptibly. Instruments have confirmed subtle fluctuations in luminosity, though the cause is not yet known. It may be tied to humidity temperature gradients, or slow chemical oscillations. But whatever the mechanism, the result is mesmerizing, a chamber that feels alive with quiet rhythm. As you sit with this image, consider how the cave's light interacts with your senses. The glow dances softly across mineral formations, highlighting stalactites that resemble frozen waterfalls, stalagmites like ancient spires, and pools of water that reflect the light like liquid mirrors. Even the shadows, faint and barely formed, contribute to the sense of peaceful enclosure. It is a place where time moves differently, slowed by the weight of stone and the patience of geology. Scientific curiosity aside, there is a soothing truth in accepting that not all natural lights need immediate explanation. Some phenomena can simply be experienced, felt as an echo of the Earth's deep processes, a bridge between the seen and unseen. As physicist Niels Bohr once said, "The opposite of a trivial truth is false. The opposite of a great truth is also true." Perhaps glowing caves hold one of those great truths that nature's quiet mysteries often deepen rather than diminish our sense of wonder. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the cave's glow now surrounding you. Warm, soft, constant. Allow it to melt the edges of your thoughts, to illuminate your breathing, to carry you gently into rest. For in these caves, where the earth seems to light itself from within, we are reminded that mystery need not be loud or dramatic. Sometimes the most comforting mysteries are the ones that illuminate without explanation. And now, following this soft internal radiance, we shift from the stillness of stone to the motion of life itself, to the astonishing precision with which certain animals navigate the world, guided by senses and instincts that continue to bewilder modern science. Across the living world, long before humans charted maps or built compasses, countless species mastered a form of navigation so astonishingly precise that even our most advanced instruments struggle to match it. Birds, whales, butterflies, sea turtles. Each year they embark on journeys spanning thousands of miles, crossing mountains, deserts, open oceans, and even entire hemispheres with accuracy that defies what we currently understand about sensory perception. Picture a single Arctic tern, a bird no larger than your hand. Over the course of its life, it will migrate a distance equivalent to flying to the moon, and back not once but several times. It leaves the Arctic each autumn and travels all the way to Antarctica, then returns precisely to the same patch of shoreline the following year. No maps, no satellites, no memory of landmarks, for much of the journey takes place over empty, featureless ocean. And yet it arrives with a precision so delicate it feels almost otherworldly. Or consider the monarch butterfly. Each individual monarch lives only a few weeks, yet the species performs a generational relay migration. One butterfly begins the journey, its great-grandchildren finish it, and somehow they all converge on the same grove of oyamel fir trees in Mexico, the same branches their ancestors visited despite never having seen them. Their navigation system defies simple biological explanation. Scientists have long studied these migrations through the lens of known cues: Earth's magnetic field, position of the sun and stars, scent trails, polarized light patterns, environmental gradients, but these cues powerful as they have failed to explain the most astonishing precision. Magnetic fields shift, star patterns vanish behind clouds, scents dissipate, and yet animals continue to migrate as if guided by something deeper, something like an internal cosmic compass. One of the most intriguing discoveries is that many migratory animals may possess quantum-based sensory systems. European robins, for example, appear to navigate using a molecule in their eyes that forms quantum-entangled pairs when struck by blue light. These molecules may allow the robin to see magnetic fields as faint patterns overlaying the landscape. This idea, once purely theoretical, is gaining scientific support. It suggests that life may be harnessing the strangest rules of the quantum world entanglement coherence spin to find its way across continents. Yet even quantum magnetoreception does not fully resolve the mystery. Whales cross oceans with uncanny accuracy despite magnetic disturbances. Sea turtles return to the exact beach of their birth after 20 years. Salmon navigate thousands of miles through shifting currents to reach the riverbed where they hatched. Something more than magnetism must be at play, a sense not yet named, not yet understood. Imagine a humpback whale, 40 tons of grace moving through the quiet blue darkness. It sings long, haunting songs that travel for hundreds of miles. Some researchers propose that whales may use these low-frequency sounds as a kind of acoustic map of the ocean basin, reading the echoes like vibrations on a drum. The ocean itself becomes their guide, whispering directions through sound. Or picture a flock of geese migrating under starlit skies. Their formation changes rhythmically. Their flight calls drift through the cold air. Perhaps they are sensing atmospheric pressure gradients or detecting faint electromagnetic cues we cannot perceive. Perhaps their brains are attuned to celestial geometry in ways that bypass conscious effort aligning with the Earth's rotation, the moon's pull, or even the subtle sway of the planet's crust. There is a gentle humility in acknowledging how little we know. As Rachel Carson wrote, "Those who contemplate the beauty of the Earth find reserves of strength that will endure as long as life lasts. These migrations are among the purest expressions of that beauty, the Earth's living rhythms made visible through motion. When you watch a murmuration of starlings swirl in unison, or see the long arrow of geese tracing the sky, you're witnessing a choreography older than human memory. These creatures are not lost. They are following invisible threads woven through land, sea, and air threads science is only beginning to detect. Some biologists believe migration may emerge from a multi-sensory integration, a blending of cues so subtle and complex that no single model can isolate them. Others suggest animals may possess a geological memory encoded through evolutionary time, enabling them to recognize magnetic anomalies, wind corridors, or ocean temperatures that recur every generation. And still others entertain the possibility that animals sense the world on scales we cannot imagine, perhaps through deep infrasonic vibrations or atmospheric electric fields, or gravitational variations too faint for human instruments. But beyond any mechanism, the emotional resonance of migration lies in what it represents, an unwavering trust in the world. Animals move with purpose, with confidence, with instinctual certainty that they belong somewhere far away and will find it again. Their journeys speak to a kind of natural intelligence, one that does not question, does not doubt, but simply acts in harmony with forces larger than itself. If you close your eyes now, imagine a sky filled with migrating birds, their wings beating in unison. Picture the shimmering surface of the ocean as a whale surfaces for air during its long journey. See the delicate shape of a butterfly gliding across thousands of miles of wind. Each traveler carries a map not drawn on parchment or screens, but woven into the very fabric of its being. Let that image soften your breath. Let it remind you that life, even in its smallest forms, is connected to the planet in profound, intricate ways. The world is full of quiet intelligence moving through it, guided by senses we may never fully grasp. And now, as we drift from the vast migrations of living creatures, we turn our attention back to the deep sea, where another mystery awaits, the rumbling, otherworldly roars heard in ocean trenches far beyond the reach of any known animal. Beneath the shimmering surface of the ocean, beneath the waves, beneath the drifting plankton, beneath even the reach of sunlight, lies a world so dark and so ancient that it feels like a separate planet. Here, in the deep trenches and along the rugged shoulders of underwater mountains, scientists have detected sounds that defy every explanation we have. Powerful, resonant, almost roaring tones rise from the abyss, echoing through thousands of miles of seawater. They are unlike the calls of whales, unlike volcanic tremors, unlike man-made machines. They are something else entirely. Picture yourself aboard a quiet research vessel floating far from shore. The stars reflect softly on the gentle swells. The night is calm. In the lab below deck, hydrophones are lowered into the water, slender ears reaching into a darkness humans have barely explored. And then through the speakers, a sound emerges, a deep, resonant bellow, rising and falling with a rhythm that feels deliberate. It is not violent or threatening. It is simply vast, carrying the weight of a voice that may have existed long before our species ever walked the land. Scientists have catalogued several of these mysterious underwater roars, each given names that hint at their character: the bloop, the upsweep, the Julia, and others. These aren't whimsical nicknames. They reflect patterns so distinct that they can be recognized across different recordings years apart, oceans apart. The bloop, discovered in 1997, was detected by multiple underwater listening stations across the Pacific. It was so loud that experts initially assumed it must have come from a colossal marine animal. Yet no known creature is capable of producing such volume, not even the blue whale, the largest animal ever to exist. Later hypotheses suggested shifting ice shelves or underwater volcanic activity, but each explanation contained gaps. The sound's harmonic structure resembled a biological signature far more than a geological one, and it has never been heard again with the same intensity. Then there is the upsweep, a seasonal sweeping tone that has persisted for decades. Its origin is likely geothermal, yet the pattern has remained surprisingly stable over time, like a deep underwater metronome ticking beneath the Pacific. The persistence of the sound raises questions. Why does it recur with such regularity? What mechanism produces such finely tuned frequencies? The ocean is a natural amplifier. Water carries sound far more efficiently than air. Where a human voice travels only a few dozen meters, underwater, vibrations can travel for thousands of kilometers. This means that a roar detected by hydrophones may have originated from a distant trench from the continental shelf, or from an underwater ridge we have never mapped in detail. Consider the Mariana Trench, nearly 7 miles deep, a realm colder and darker than any place on the planet's surface. Here the pressure is immense enough to crush steel, yet life exists, thriving, and forms humanity as only glimpsed through remote-controlled submersibles. These creatures rely on sensory systems completely alien to us: pressure waves, electric fields, chemical gradients. Could some of the mysterious roars come from unfamiliar biological processes? Could unknown species communicate through wavelengths we have not yet catalogued? Marine biologists tread carefully with such speculation. The ocean, they remind us, is vast beyond imagination. More than 80% remains unmapped, unobserved, unrecorded. In this context, a handful of unexplained sounds is not surprising. And yet, the emotional resonance of such roars is undeniable. They awaken something primal within us, a recognition that Earth is not silent and that the deep sea is a world with its own languages. Some researchers propose that underwater mountain ranges act like massive resonant structures, vibrating in response to tectonic shifts. Others suggest that geothermal vents may release bursts of superheated water that produce acoustic signatures. Still others believe that certain deep ocean ecosystems may generate low-frequency choruses we have mistaken for singular roars. None of these theories fully explain the patterns. What we do know is that the deep ocean behaves in ways that challenge our assumptions. Pressure waves can bounce between thermal layers, creating echoes that mimic biological calls. Submarine canyons can funnel sound like natural horns. Even passing storms on the surface can trigger long, resonant vibrations miles below. But amidst these complexities, there remains a gentle truth: the unknown is soothing when we allow it to be. The roars of the deep are not warnings. They are reminders of the Earth's vastness, of life's ability to thrive in places beyond our imagination. They carry the same comfort as thunder in the distance, or wind moving through pine forests, natural sounds that connect us to the world's rhythms. If you close your eyes for a moment, imagine yourself descending into one of these trenches. Darkness surrounds you, thick and velvet-like. Strange bioluminescent organisms drift past, emitting slow pulses of blue-green light. The pressure grows, but in this imagined descent, it does not harm you, it only deepens your sense of stillness. And then somewhere in the vast emptiness, a A soft resonant roar ripples through the water. You do not fear it. You simply listen. You feel its vibration through your bones, through your breath, through your thoughts. It becomes a lullaby from the Earth's oldest waters. These underwater sounds remind us of a simple truth captured by Jacques Cousteau. The sea, once it casts its spell, holds one in its net of wonder forever. The ocean's mysteries do not demand solutions. They offer a sense of perspective, a reminder of how small we are and how beautifully intricate the world remains. Let that awareness settle gently around you now, like cool water closing over warm skin. Let it ease your breathing, soften your shoulders, quiet your thoughts. And now, rising from the trenches and returning to the surface world, we turn to yet another ancient mystery. Human-made structures aligned with the stars with a precision that still challenges our understanding of the civilizations that built them. Across continents and millennia, long before telescopes scanned the heavens or satellites traced orbital paths, ancient civilizations built structures whose alignment with the stars remains astonishing even today. From massive stone circles to temples carved in desert sands, these architectural treasures seem to speak the same quiet language, a language of celestial precision, of patience, of deep attention to the rhythms of the sky. Imagine arriving at one of these ancient sites just before dawn. The world is still the air cool, the first faint blue of morning touching the edges of the horizon. Massive stones rise from the ground like frozen waves. Some tilt in deliberate angles, others stand in perfect symmetry. You walk slowly among them, feeling the weight of thousands of years pressing gently against the silence. And then, as the first ray of sunlight crests the horizon, the entire structure comes alive. A beam of light passes exactly through a narrow corridor, striking the inner chamber with uncanny accuracy, just as it has done on this same day each year for centuries. How did ancient builders achieve such alignment? How did they understand the tilt of Earth's axis, the drift of the constellations, the slow precession of equinoxes, all without modern tools, without mechanized devices, without written equations? Science now knows that many ancient cultures tracked the sky with astonishing dedication. They observed sunrise positions, lunar cycles, and stellar migrations across generations, storing knowledge in stories, rituals, architecture, and lifestyle itself. But even with this awareness, the precision they achieved often exceeds what seems reasonable for their available technology. Consider Stonehenge, whose great stones align precisely with the summer solstice sunrise, or the Great Pyramid of Giza, whose sides are oriented almost perfectly to the cardinal directions with an error margin so small it rivals modern surveying equipment. Or New Grange in Ireland, which captures the winter solstice sunrise through a stone passageway only a few inches wide. Each structure required not only architectural skill, but a deep empirical understanding of celestial mechanics. Some sites reveal even more unexpected sophistication. In Peru, the Nazca lines align with astronomical events and specific star risings. In Cambodia, Angkor Wat encodes precise measurements of the solar year. In Mexico, Chichen Itza was designed so that on the equinox shadows form the illusion of a serpent sliding down the temple staircase. These alignments are not accidents. They are intentional, layered with meaning, geometry, and cosmic awareness. To modern archaeologists, this raises a profound question. How did ancient builders achieve consistent accuracy across such vast distances and cultures? Some theories suggest they used shadow sticks, horizon markers, and long-term observation, all feasible, yet insufficient to explain precision on the order of arc minutes. Other researchers propose that ancient architects possessed a highly trained astronomical intuition built over generations of uninterrupted skywatching. Without electricity or screens, the night sky was not a distant backdrop. It was a living map, a calendar, a spiritual text. And then there is the possibility, advanced by a few interdisciplinary scholars, that ancient people may have been more attuned to natural cycles than we are sensitive to subtle atmospheric cues, magnetic variations, or horizon patterns that modern life has dulled in us. While speculative, this idea reminds us that human perception is not fixed. It evolves with culture need and environment. What's striking is that many ancient structures seem to encode not just simple solar or lunar alignments, but multiple astronomical functions simultaneously. Some track the rising of specific stars, others map the 18.6-year lunar cycle. Some align with extreme points on the horizon, where the moon or sun appears only once every few decades. This is not casual sky watching. This is astronomy carved into stone. The philosopher Carl Sagan once wrote, "We are a way for the cosmos to know itself." Ancient structures embody this idea with quiet power. Their stones do not move, yet they follow the heavens with absolute loyalty. Their builders are long gone, but the celestial paths they captured remain unchanged. When you stand in one of these sites, you are standing inside a message sent across time, a message of curiosity, patience, and reverence. Imagine ancient astronomers lying on cool stone platforms at night watching the slow turning of the sky. They did this not for a night or a season, but for lifetimes. Generations passed, each adding a piece to the puzzle, until the heavens became as familiar to them as the earth beneath their feet. When they built monuments, they built them not merely for shelter or ceremony, but as instruments, tools to measure the sky in ways both practical and sacred. There is something deeply calming in this idea that humans have always looked upward in wonder, seeking guidance not in fear, but in fascination. That long before modern science, people already understood the cosmos as a place of order and rhythm, a place where cycles could be trusted, where light always returned after darkness. These ancient structures are reminders that the search for meaning is older than history. As you picture one of these monuments now, a stone corridor glowing with solstice, light, a pyramid casting an equinox shadow, a temple aligned with the rising of a star, let the precision soothe you. Let the stillness of these ancient designs ease your mind. You're part of a lineage of humans who have always listened to the sky, and now, gently carrying this sense of awe and continuity, we turn to the sun itself, where strange, finely structured bursts of energy sometimes emerge, hinting at solar processes even more mysterious than the skybound architects knew. The sun, our ever-present star, has always been both a source of comfort and a source of mystery. It warms the surface of our world, stirs the winds, paints the sky with dawn and dusk. Yet deep within its glowing heart lies a realm of physics so turbulent, so intricate, that even modern science occasionally pauses in wonder. Among the most intriguing of these wonders are the strange, finely structured radio bursts. The sun sometimes emits bursts, whose patterns appear almost intentional, as though tuned with delicate precision. Imagine lying comfortably beneath a clear midday sky. The sunlight feels soft on your skin, warm but not overpowering. To the naked eye, the sun seems steady, constant, unchanging. But beyond the visible spectrum, in the invisible world of radio waves, the sun is alive with activity waves, pulses, loops of magnetic energy folding and unfolding like luminous knots. Most solar radio bursts are chaotic, shaped by explosions of plasma-dancing magnetic fields and the churning motion of superheated gas. But then, every so often, astronomers detect signals unlike the rest bursts, arranged in clean, repeated structures, as though someone had traced them with a meticulous hand. These bursts show narrow frequency spacing, precise intervals, harmonic layering, and patterns so symmetric that they do not resemble natural turbulence. They appear fine-tuned. And yet, of course, they are produced by nature, but by a nature so deep, so complex, so exquisitely sensitive to magnetic and plasma conditions that our understanding feels incomplete. To grasp this mystery, imagine the sun's atmosphere as a vast ocean of charged particles. Currents swirl, magnetic fields loop into towering arches, shockwaves ripple across the surface at hundreds of kilometers per second. In this electric sea, even a slight shift in magnetic tension can release huge cascades of plasma, which then accelerate electrons in ways that generate coherent radio emissions. These electrons don't simply scatter. Sometimes they move in locked rhythms, spiraling along magnetic lines of force, like dancers moving in perfect formation. When this happens, the radio signals they produce become patterned, structured, not by randomness, but by the geometry of the sun's magnetic fields. This is one explanation for the mysterious patterns. The sun itself is a vast dynamic orchestra, and these bursts are rare moments when its magnetic instruments fall into brief harmony. Still, even this does not fully explain the most finely tuned bursts, some of which display split frequencies so narrow they defy predictions. These patterns almost resemble engineered signals, though science does not leap to such interpretations. Instead, astronomers are reminded of how much remains unseen in the sun's roaring atmosphere. At the heart of these mysteries is the idea of plasma resonance, where charged particles oscillate in synchrony, reinforced by the environment around them. In the sun's corona, the outermost layer hotter than the surface by a factor of hundreds. Resonance may occur in ways we cannot yet map. Each resonance would create a distinct frequency band. and if several resonances are triggered simultaneously, their interplay could build the unusual fine-tuned structures we detect. Picture the sun now not as a blazing orb but as a vast glowing canvas. Across its surface, magnetic lines stretch like invisible threads. Occasionally these threads tighten, twist, and snap back into place. In those fleeting moments, they release bursts of energy that travel across space and brush gently against our world. Telescopes catch these whispers and translate them into shapes that surprise us with their elegance. There is something deeply soothing in knowing that even the most powerful object in our solar system produces such delicate patterns. It reminds us that chaos and order are not opposites. They are partners weaving the fabric of reality together. As you breathe slowly, now imagine what it feels like to drift near the sun's corona, not with heat or danger, but in a dreamlike sense of perspective. You float within a golden haze, watching magnetic waves rise and fold like silk banners caught in celestial wind. Occasionally, a burst of energy ripples outward, forming rings of radio light that expand through space with rhythmic grace. These waves continue their journey long after they leave the sun, eventually passing the orbit of Earth, brushing past our satellites and whispering into the antennas of distant observatories. The sun's behavior reminds us of something the author Arthur C. Clarke once wrote. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, and in a way the sun is the oldest, most exquisite technology of all, a nuclear furnace sustained not by gears and circuits, but by the laws of physics unfolding with perfect ancient rhythm. If you listen closely now, not with your ears but with the quiet attention of your imagination, you might hear the sun's fine structured bursts as gentle notes drifting through space. They are not messages, they are not warnings, they are simply expressions of the universe's complexity sung by a star that has burned for 4.6 billion years and will burn for billions more. Allow that thought to ease your breathing, to soften your mind, to wash over you with warmth. For even in its most mysterious behaviors, the sun reassures us that the universe is not fully chaotic. There are patterns woven into the fire rhythms hidden within the light and harmony emerging from the turbulence. And now, as we glide from the brilliance of the sun toward the delicate upper layers of Earth's own atmosphere, we turn our gaze to a quieter mystery. Strange flashes of light high above the clouds unlinked to storms appearing like shimmering discs, rings and columns in the thin air of the stratosphere, high above the clouds in a realm where commercial airliners glide like small silver birds, and the blue of the sky deepens toward indigo strange pulses of light, sometimes appear sudden, delicate and silent. These luminous forms hover in the thin air of the stratosphere far above any storm, far beyond the churning roots of lightning. They are not flashes that illuminate a landscape. They are not thunderbolts tearing across the sky. Instead, they bloom like soft celestial flowers, discs, rings, and slender pillars of light rising and fading in the span of a breath. Imagine flying through a perfectly calm night. The stars are bright, the world below is dark and quiet. The atmosphere seems peaceful, predictable. Then, without warning, a pale circular glow appears above the horizon, a floating disk of light that seems to breathe in and out before dissolving into nothingness. Or perhaps you see a vertical column as if a beam from some invisible lighthouse had swept briefly across the upper sky. No storms appear on radar, no thunderheads loom nearby. The atmosphere is still, yet the lights rise, shimmer and vanish. These phenomena, sometimes called high-altitude transient luminous events, do not behave like lightning. Lightning surges upward or downward with fierce branching tendrils. These lights by contrast unfold in shapes that feel geometric rings, halos, upward blooming pillars, as though the sky were performing a quiet and delicate physics of its own. Scientists have documented several families of these events. Elves, expanding donut-shaped discs that flash at the base of the ionosphere. Sprites, ghostly branching red jellyfish of electric light. Trolls, pixies, gnomes, fleeting upward sparks from towering storm structures. Blue jets, narrow cones of blue light shooting toward the edge of space. But even with these known categories, there remain reports of luminous shapes that do not fit the patterns, lights appearing far above calm weather, in places where instrumentation detects no electrical buildup. Lights that seem in their quiet geometry to be born not of storms but of the sky itself. How can light form in the absence of lightning? One explanation suggests that very high-frequency electromagnetic waves may interact with charged particles in the upper atmosphere producing momentary emissions. These would be too faint to detect from the ground, but visible from aircraft or satellite. Another theory proposes that cosmic rays' high-energy particles from distant stars may trigger brief cascades of excitation in thin air, causing short-lived rings or disks of illumination. In these models, the sky becomes a kind of canvas painted by particles arriving from other parts of the universe, each leaving a soft, transient mark on Earth's atmosphere. Another possibility involves gravity waves, large-scale ripples of air rising from weather systems or mountain ranges. When these waves reach the upper atmosphere, they may trigger regions of ionization that briefly glow, producing the kind of faint shapes described by pilots and researchers. These would not be lightning, but the shimmering signature of atmospheric tension. And still, another hypothesis touches on plasma instabilities, where charged particles reorganize themselves into fleeting, luminous structures. Plasma, the fourth state of matter, behaves with both fluidity and electrical sensitivity. Even minor shifts in magnetic or atmospheric conditions can cause it to flash with delicate patterns. Perhaps these rings and pillars are natural expressions of plasma dynamics in the thin air above our world. Whatever the mechanism, the effect on those who witness these lights is always the same, a sense of quiet awe. The lights do not roar, they do not threaten. They appear gently, softly, like a whisper of cosmic breath. Imagine again that you are flying. Outside your window, the stars seem closer now. Below you, the Earth is a patchwork of sleeping continents. Suddenly, a faint ring of light blooms far ahead, expanding effortlessly smoothly with no sound. It looks almost like the ripple created by a stone dropped into water, except here the water is the sky itself. You watch it widen, soften, and disappear. Nothing else stirs. The night remains calm. There is something deeply soothing in this image, light emerging from perfect stillness. Geometry appearing where physics feels weightless. The sky revealing its quiet, secret artistry. These lights remind us that Earth's atmosphere is not empty. It is a living, shifting medium sensitive to cosmic influences, magnetic tides, and solar whispers. The upper sky is where the universe and our planet meet a boundary, where particles from distant galaxies brush against the thin veil of our world. The poet John Muir once wrote, "The sun shines not on us, but in us." Standing beneath these luminous shapes or soaring above them in the night, we sense an extension of that truth. The cosmos shines in us, through us, around us, connecting the smallest human breath to the quietest ripple of light. As you relax into this image, imagine the stratosphere as a gentle glowing membrane. Imagine each pulse of light as a reminder that the world is full of subtle rhythms. You do not need to understand them fully to feel their calming presence. Simply knowing they exist, that the sky sometimes draws its own delicate signatures, is enough to soften the mind. This is the beauty of unexplained phenomena. They allow us to rest comfortably in wonder, without urgency, without fear. And now, as our gaze drifts from the heights of the stratosphere back down into the depths of the Earth, we turn to another quiet puzzle, the rhythmic clock-like pulses recorded beneath mountains and deep underground, hinting at an inner world whose timing we have yet to decipher. Deep beneath the crust of the Earth, in caverns where no sunlight has ever wandered, and where silence gathers in thick, ancient layers, scientists have discovered a phenomenon both subtle and perplexing. Rhythmic pulses repeating at intervals too regular to be seismic, too gentle to be tectonic, and entirely distinct from the familiar ebb and flow of oceanic tides. These underground pulses behave like a hidden clock, a slow, steady heartbeat from within the planet itself. Imagine descending into such a cavern. The air grows cooler as you move downward. The light fades. Stone walls encircle you, textured with the quiet history of millions of years. Your footsteps echo softly, but soon even that sound dies away. You reach a chamber deep underground, a place untouched by wind or weather. Instruments placed here detect something remarkable. A pulsing vibration, delicate but unmistakably rhythmic. It rises, falls, pauses, and begins again, calm, consistent, strangely comforting. These pulses do not correspond to known mechanical processes. They are not caused by machinery, by nearby rivers, or by geothermal vents. They persist even when controlled for temperature changes, electromagnetic interference, and distant earthquakes. Whatever their origin, they appear to be internal and periodic, as though the Earth itself keeps time with an invisible metronome. Scientists have attempted to decode this underground rhythm through various models. One possibility is that deep mantle convection, the slow swirling movement of rock beneath the crust, might sometimes produce oscillations when interacting with rigid structures above. If these interactions occur at predictable intervals, they might create subtle vibrations that propagate upward into caverns. But the regularity of the pulses challenges this explanation. Mantle dynamics occur over thousands or millions of years, far too slow for the rhythmic patterns detected, some of which repeat over minutes or hours. Another hypothesis suggests that microfractures deep within rock layers could open and close in cyclical patterns, driven by unknown subsurface pressures. But these events would likely produce irregular signatures, not the clean periodicity observed. There is also a line of inquiry exploring the possibility of fluid migration in confined reservoirs, where trapped pockets of water or gas shift according to subtle changes in pressure. In such a scenario, underground fluids might slosh or resonate, producing repeating pulses that resemble the slow beat of a heart. Yet this model too lacks a universal mechanism explaining why pulses appear in diverse geological environments around the world. In recent years, some researchers have considered whether the pulses might arise from interactions between Earth's magnetic field and certain mineral compositions, especially in regions rich in iron or quartz. As the geomagnetic field fluctuates slightly from day to day, it might induce microcurrents in conductive rocks generating faint periodic vibrations. This idea has potential, but it remains purely speculative. What remains undeniable is the emotional resonance of the phenomenon. There is something deeply soothing about imagining the Earth with a heartbeat, not in a literal biological sense, but as a planetary rhythm, a pulse of quiet regularity running beneath us all. It feels ancient, steady and wise, like the slow breathing of a sleeping giant. As you picture this, imagine sitting in that underground chamber. The stone around you is cool and smooth. The darkness is complete yet not oppressive. A soft vibration flows through the ground, steady and gentle. It feels like a lullaby written in the language of geology. A reminder that the Earth is not merely a static ball of rock and metal. It is dynamic, layered alive in its own deep, patient way. The philosopher Henry David Thoreau once wrote, "The Earth has music for those who listen. These subterranean pulses are among the quietest of its melodies, a song hidden beneath layers of stone. They remind us that life's rhythms are not limited to hearts beating or tides flowing. Even in silence, even in darkness, even in the deepest reaches of the planet, patterns continue to unfold. Perhaps these pulses are simply the result of physics we have not yet mapped. Or perhaps they reflect a property of the Earth. We are only beginning to sense a kind of structural resonance, a natural oscillation arising from the interplay of rock pressure and planetary rotation. Whatever their origin, they invite us to slow down, to listen and to marvel at the unseen. Let yourself imagine now that the pulse matches your breathing. Inhale as the vibration rises. Exhale as it falls. Feel the rhythm guiding your own thoughts into a gentler cadence. There is a profound comfort in aligning oneself with a rhythm older than civilization, older than humanity, older than life itself. As your mind settles into that calm, steady beat, remember that not all mysteries are meant to be solved quickly. Some exist to remind us that wonder is a form of knowledge too, one that deepens rather than diminishes our connection to the world. And now, from the slow heartbeat of the Earth, we rise toward the world's quiet lakes, where faint, gentle glows shimmer on the surface, luminous waters whose origins remain as mysterious and soothing as the pulses beneath our feet. Across the quiet landscapes of our planet, tucked between mountains, forests, or rolling plains, there exist lakes that glow with a faint, enchanting radiance. Unlike the sparkling bioluminescence of coastal waters, where algae flicker and swirl like blue stars, these inland lakes emit a glow with no biological cause. No microbes shimmer beneath the surface, no chemical reactions churn at the shoreline. And yet when night falls, a gentle light rises from the water, as if the lake itself remembers how to shine. Imagine standing beside one of these lakes on a still evening. The air is cool, scented with pine or earth or drifting mist. The sky above reflects perfectly on the smooth surface, the stars glittering so clearly that you can scarcely tell where the sky ends and the water begins. And then as your eyes adjust, you notice it, a pale radiance diffusing upward from beneath the surface. Not bright, not sharp. Just a soft illumination like moonlight that somehow learned to breathe through water. Scientists puzzled by these luminous lakes began with the most familiar explanation, bioluminescence. But samples taken from the glowing waters reveal no trace of dinoflagellates, no bacteria known to emit light, no algal bloom that could account for the phenomenon. The glow persists even in winter when biological activity slows almost to zero. It appears in waters that are too cold, too mineral-rich, or too isolated to host light-producing organisms. Something else is happening. One hypothesis proposes that minerals in the lake bed may store sunlight during the day and then release it slowly at night in the form of luminescent afterglow, a process known as phosphorescence. Certain minerals, such as calcite or feldspar, are capable of this under controlled laboratory conditions. But in nature, such extended phosphorescence is rare, and the lakes that glow in this way do not all share the same mineral composition. Some glow greenish, some glow bluish, some shimmer like silver mist. The variety suggests multiple mechanisms at work. Another theory explores piezoelectric effects, the ability of crystals, especially quartz, to generate electricity under pressure. If the lake bed contains quartz-rich sediments, and if tectonic stress or subtle shifts in the Earth's crust act upon them, they may produce faint electrical discharges that, when interacting with water, create a visible glow. Yet these lakes often lie in geologically calm regions where pressure changes are too minimal to generate meaningful energy. A third idea follows the trail of chemical luminescence in which reactions between dissolved gases or minerals release light. For example, certain combinations of magnesium, sulfur, or rare earth elements can emit faint glows when agitated. But in glowing lakes, the light appears even on windless nights when the water is still and undisturbed. And then there is the most intriguing possibility: the glow originates from the interaction between the lake's water and the sky above. Some physicists propose that the unique optical properties of certain lakes may allow them to amplify extremely faint light starlight, atmospheric plasma, or even cosmic rays, scattering it in ways that create the illusion of self-generated radiance. In this view, the lake becomes a natural lens, a quiet mirror, amplifying whispers of light from the cosmos. If you stand by the water and listen, the lake seems to confirm this idea. The glow does not pulse, it does not spark. It simply rests on the surface or just below it, like a memory of daylight or a dream of the stars reflected inward. The effect is soothing, hypnotic, almost meditative. Picture yourself now sitting at the water's edge. The glow drifts lightly across the lake, shifting in subtle waves as though responding to the rhythm of your breath. The silence is profound, broken only by the soft sound of insects or the distant rustle of wind over grass. In the calm, you begin to feel that the lake is not merely glowing, it is sharing. Sharing heat, sharing light, sharing some quiet message from deep within the earth or far beyond the sky. The naturalist John Burroughs once wrote, "I go to nature to be soothed and healed and to have my senses put in order." In the presence of a glowing lake, this sentiment becomes vividly true. The radiance does not overwhelm. It does not demand attention. It simply exists, gently resetting your sense of what is possible. It reminds you that nature often holds onto secrets lightly, not hiding them, but offering them to those who look with patient, quiet eyes. Scientists continue to study these lakes with spectrometers, underwater sensors, and satellite imaging. And although no single explanation has emerged, the mystery remains friendly, not forbidding. The glow is steady, harmless, peaceful. It invites curiosity rather than alarm. Like many unexplained phenomena, it reveals a world both known and unknown, familiar and enchanted. As you inhale slowly, now imagine the cool air flowing across the glowing surface. Let the image settle in your mind like a lantern set gently upon still water. Feel the quiet assurance that the world is deeper and more wondrous than any one theory can capture. And now, letting the lake's radiance fade softly behind us, we turn toward another phenomenon shaped by light, not the presence of it, but the absence. Up high on certain mountain slopes, dark shapes drift in ways that defy our understanding of shadow and illumination, revealing yet another gentle mystery of the natural world. Along remote mountain slopes, in places where the air grows thin and the world feels carved from light and silence, observers have reported a phenomenon both subtle and hauntingly beautiful: dark patches, shadows drifting slowly across the mountainside in directions that defy the sun. They move uphill when the light points downhill. They slide sideways when the sun sits high. They drift as though guided not by illumination, but by some invisible current of air or energy flowing across the landscape. These shadows are not the sharp silhouettes we see behind solid objects. They are softer, like veils of dimness, patches of slightly darker air gliding over stone and snow. Sometimes they appear as elongated shapes, other times as rounded, cloud-like forms. What makes them most mysterious is their independence. They do not obey the geometry of the mountain or the known behavior of sunlight. Instead, they drift like quiet spirits, slow and purposeful. Imagine standing on such a mountainside at dawn. The air is crisp and cool. The sky blushes pale gold. The first rays of sunlight sweep across the ridge, igniting the rocks with warmth. And then, as you watch, a darker shape glides across the illuminated slope. Not a cloud shadow, the sky is clear. Not the shadow of a bird, the shape is too large, too slow, too smooth. It drifts against the direction of the light as though carried by a breeze you cannot feel. Scientists studying this phenomenon have proposed several explanations. One possibility involves thermal gradients, variations in temperature, that bend light, subtly creating regions where the brightness appears lower. In mountainous environments, warm air rising and cold air sinking can generate shimmering distortions similar to mirages in deserts. These distortions may create patches of refracted light that mimic drifting shadows. Another hypothesis centers on aerosols and microparticles suspended in the air. When clusters of particles shift in density, they can alter the scattering of sunlight, producing areas of reduced luminance. These airflow patterns might move in ways that differ from simple wind paths, guided instead by the mountain's complex contours and the interplay of warm and cool air. A third theory involves gravity waves in the atmosphere, not to be confused with the gravitational waves of astrophysics, but rippling undulations of air caused by wind flowing over terrain. These atmospheric waves can create alternating bands of compressed and rarefied air, each affecting light differently. When such waves drift across a sunlit slope, they may generate the illusion of shadows moving against the sun. And yet even these models do not fully capture the graceful behavior observers describe. The drifting patches often move too slowly, too smoothly, too deliberately. They resemble not chaotic atmospheric turbulence, but something closer to a natural choreography patterns inscribed by the mountain itself. Consider the poetic thought that mountains breathe. Of course, not in the literal biological sense, but the Earth's surface does expand and contract with heat, wind, and pressure. As the sun warms one side of a slope, air begins to rise gently, setting off slow-moving currents that swirl around the rock like invisible tides. The shadows may simply be expressions of these currents' calm movements in a vertical ocean of air. If you sit quietly on the mountainside long enough, you notice something else. The shadows do not disturb the landscape's serenity. They add to it. Their slow movement mirrors the rhythm of your own breath. Their quiet drifting feels like a meditation in motion, a reminder that the world is full of patterns so subtle that only stillness reveals them. There is a line by poet Mary Oliver that speaks to this: instructions for living a life, pay attention. Be astonished, tell about it. These drifting shadows embody all three. They invite observation, they reward astonishment, and when described aloud, they sound like something from a fable, yet they are entirely real. Let yourself imagine now that you're seated on a rock ledge overlooking a vast valley. Below you, forests stretch in soft green waves. Above you, the sky glows with high morning light. The air is cool against your skin. As you breathe in deeply, a dark patch appears on the slope opposite you. It moves slowly uphill like a gentle tide returning to shore. No sound accompanies it. No wind follows it. It simply drifts peaceful and unhurried. Watching it brings an unexpected calm. You begin to understand why the unexplained can be soothing, not because mystery itself is restful, but because it pulls you out of ordinary thought and into wonder. You do not need to decide what the shadow is. You only need to witness it. Scientists continue to study this subtle behavior using high-resolution cameras and atmospheric sensors. Yet for all the technical data gathered, the drifting shadows still resist complete explanation. They remain one of nature's quiet puzzles, harmless, gentle, and strangely grounding. As your breathing slows, imagine the shadow disappearing now as the sun rises higher. Light takes its place, filling the slope with warm gold. Everything settles into stillness again, as though the mountain has finished speaking for today. And now, guided by this soothing interplay of light and dark, we move from Earth's mountains to the stars once more, toward meteorites that contain patterns and crystalline structures unlike anything found naturally on our planet, hinting at cosmic origins shaped by forces far beyond our world, far out in the cold silence between planets, in a realm where sunlight loses its warmth and time stretches into vast patient intervals. Fragments of metal drift for millions, sometimes billions of years. These fragments forged in the hearts of ancient stars or in the collisions of embryonic worlds eventually fall toward Earth as meteorites. Many are simple stones, unremarkable except for their age, but a rare few contain crystalline patterns so intricate, so mathematically precise, that they appear almost designed. These patterns, known as Widmanstätten structures, are unlike anything naturally formed on Earth. When you cut and polish a certain type of iron meteorite, geometric lines emerge in perfect symmetry, interlocking triangles, branching ladders, long parallel bars arranged in a subtle metallic lattice. The shapes form angles so consistent, so regular that human artisans often mistake them for the work of some unknown craftsperson, and yet they are not designed by any hand. They are the slow art of the cosmos. Imagine holding one of these meteorites in your palm. It is cool and heavy, denser than most stones, with a weight that feels ancient. Touching its surface is like touching time itself. The patterns etched within it formed not over hours or years, but over millions of slow, dreamlike years of cooling, far too slowly for such structures to ever occur on Earth, where metals cool rapidly and crystals cannot grow in long-ordered chains, but in space where heat escapes gently into the void iron and nickel atoms drift into perfect alignment. They arrange themselves in ways that follow the quiet mathematics of the cosmos, forming structures that look deliberate only because nature, when given enough time, becomes exquisitely precise. Scientists marvel at these patterns because they reveal the meteorite's history. The structure tells us how slowly it cooled. The spacing reveals its chemical composition. The symmetry hints at the environment of the early solar system. To read a meteorite is to read a cosmic biography, and sometimes the patterns tell us things even science cannot fully decode. Some meteorites contain quasi-crystal structures that repeat without perfectly repeating patterns, forbidden in ordinary crystallography, long thought impossible. Yet they exist embedded within fragments from outer space. Their atoms arrange in ways that seem almost artistic, with symmetries unseen in earthly minerals. When quasi-crystals were first discovered in meteorites, the news shook the scientific world. It was as if the universe had whispered, "There are still rules you do not know." Imagine these crystals forming in an environment of near-zero pressure, near-zero gravity, far from the constraints of planetary geology. Imagine their atoms cooling, slowly drifting into complex mosaics shaped by cosmic time. When we look at them here on Earth under microscopes beneath laboratory lights, their beauty feels intentional, like a message etched across the eons. The poet Carl Sagan once said, "We are made of star stuff." Meteorites remind us of this truth in the most literal way. Their metallic patterns were born inside stars that lived and died long before Earth existed. The atoms in these cosmic metals traveled unimaginable distances before falling into our hands. When you gaze at their crystalline interior, you're looking at a memory older than the oceans, older than the mountains, older even than the sun. There is something deeply soothing in knowing that these structures were not rushed. They formed slowly, patiently, guided by the universe's natural rhythms. They embody the quiet persistence of time, a reminder that complexity does not always arise from intention, but often from gentle, continuous unfolding. Imagine now sitting in a dim room holding a polished slice of meteorite under a soft lamp. The geometric lines shimmer faintly. They look like a map of some unknown landscape. They resemble frost on a winter window, or the branching of a river deltas seen from above, or the veins of a leaf magnified 1,000 times. They feel familiar yet alien, earthly yet born from distant stars. Let your mind drift to the thought that such patterns may exist throughout the universe, on planets we will never see, on asteroids drifting in silence, on dust grains swirling in nebulae. The architecture of matter, when left to its own ancient process, becomes its own form of poetry. And perhaps that is why these meteorites calm us. They remind us that the universe is not chaotic. It is patterned, structured, harmonious in its own mysterious language. They show us that beauty can emerge without design, simply from the patient unfolding of natural laws. As you inhale slowly, imagine the meteorite cooling in the darkness of space, year after year, century after century, until its pattern becomes inevitable. Imagine its long journey toward Earth. Imagine the moment it falls through the atmosphere, flaring briefly like a star reborn. And then, imagine it resting in your hand, silent, ancient, resolute. Let that image soothe your mind. Let it settle into your breathing. For in this cosmic artwork lies a peaceful truth The universe is always shaping itself, always creating intricate structures whether or not we're there to witness them. And now, carrying this gentle awareness of cosmic craftsmanship, we turn back toward our own planet, where even Earth's magnetic field, usually steady and familiar, sometimes surges or fades in sudden, unexplained bursts, revealing yet another soft-spoken mystery of the natural world. One theory suggests that deep electrical currents flowing in Earth's mantle may sometimes reorganize, causing temporary surface fluctuations. But these currents operate slowly, and the anomalies detected are often too sharp, too abrupt to match this explanation. Another idea focuses on atmospheric interactions. High-altitude lightning sprites and plasma events can alter local magnetic conditions for a moment, like a pebble dropped into a pond of invisible lines. But many magnetic surges occur on clear, calm days with no storms for hundreds of kilometers. A third hypothesis considers subsurface fluid movement. Molten rock water trapped in deep fractures or mineral-rich brines may shift in a way that changes the conductivity of the crust. As the materials move, they alter the magnetic field above. But again, the timing and duration of these events rarely align with geological processes that should take hours or days, not minutes. Perhaps the most intriguing idea involves magnetospheric resonance, a phenomenon in which Earth's magnetic field hums like a drum. If something triggers a shift in resonance even briefly, it might produce a local surge or collapse. But what triggers it that remains unknown? Imagine for a moment that Earth's magnetic field is like a vast shimmering net around the planet. Every creature, every rock, every movement contributes a tiny vibration to this net. Most of these vibrations cancel out, forming a stable background. But occasionally something shifts, a subtle alignment of forces, a hidden pressure, a deep resonance, and the net trembles softly. That tremble is what our instruments record. There is something profoundly calming about this perspective. It suggests that Earth is not static, not rigid, but alive with invisible motions. The magnetic surges are not warnings. They are whispers, reminders that the planet breathes in ways we cannot see. Imagine placing your hand on a warm stone. You do not feel a heartbeat, but you know the earth beneath you is full of cycles, tides rising and falling, plates drifting, magma, flowing winds, swirling oceans, pulsing with their own rhythms. The magnetic field is part of this symphony, a silent music of charged particles looping endlessly around the planet. Now imagine that the magnetic anomaly is like a soft note added to this quiet song, a momentary change in pitch, a gentle vibration in the air. You cannot hear it, but the earth hears it. Birds sense it. Whales feel it. Even the smallest microbes respond to magnetic cues, shifting their tiny bodies in alignment with a field they instinctively understand. The idea that the earth experiences subtle magnetic breaths is comforting in a way. It places us inside a living system, not separate from it. The field has highs and lows. It fluctuates not only due to cosmic events, but due to processes deep within the planet's body. As you imagine this now, let the notion settle gently into your mind. The world is always in motion, even when everything feels still. The magnetic field is part of that motion, and its gentle surges remind us of the interconnectedness of all things. The physicist Richard Feynman once said, "Nature uses only the longest threads to weave her patterns." These magnetic anomalies are some of those threads, faint, subtle signals woven into the fabric of Earth's identity. Allow that thought to soothe you. Let it soften your shoulders, slow your breathing. Bring your mind into alignment with the quiet pulse of the planet. For mystery does not always come with thunder or spectacle. Sometimes it appears as a whisper beneath our feet, a fleeting tremor in the invisible, a gentle reminder that even the stable has its secrets. And now, following the soft current of these hidden surges, we turn our attention to the lives around us, to animals whose instincts seem to sense danger long before our instruments do, responding to patterns we have not yet learned to read. Across the living world, long before seismographs begin to tremble or satellites detect swirling storms, animals sometimes sense what is coming. Birds lift suddenly into the air hours before an earthquake. Dogs pace or whine as though hearing a distant signal. Fish dive deeper schools, changing direction with uncanny coordination. Even insects, quiet and small, alter their patterns, as if responding to a whisper in the earth that humans cannot hear. This phenomenon, animals detecting disasters before they happen, is one of the most intriguing intersections between biology and geophysics. And while science can describe pieces of the puzzle, the full picture remains beautifully incomplete. Imagine a soft morning on a coastal village. The air is calm, waves roll gently onto the sand, everything appears peaceful. But then the birds begin to move, not chaotically, but with purpose. They fly inland hundreds at a time, as though guided by some invisible tide. Dogs refuse to eat. Fish abandon shallow waters. Hours later, an earthquake ripples through the seabed. The animals were not surprised. They had already listened. What exactly do they hear? What do they sense? Scientists propose a range of possibilities, each illuminating but none fully conclusive. One explanation explores subtle vibrations, microtremors, too faint for human perception, but easily sensed by animals whose bodies evolved to read the ground as carefully as we read words. Dogs, elephants, and farm animals can detect low-frequency vibrations long before seismic waves intensify. Birds may sense these vibrations through hollow bones that act like resonant chambers. Another possibility involves changes in electromagnetic fields. Before earthquakes, the friction of shifting rock layers can generate faint electrical signals, altering local magnetic fields. Many animals navigate using magnetoreception. Birds, bees, fish, and even some mammals possess internal sensors tuned to magnetic patterns. A sudden shift in the electromagnetic environment may feel to them like a storm cloud passing across the sky, except the storm is beneath the ground. Some researchers study air ionization, the release of charged particles from strained rock. These ions may affect animal behavior, altering sense air chemistry, or even subtle electrical sensations along exposed skin or whiskers. And then perhaps the most poetic idea, animals may sense infrasound, low-frequency hums produced by distant tectonic stress. These sounds travel through Earth's crust and ocean waters long before humans detect them. Whales respond to infrasound across entire ocean basins. Birds respond across continents. Elephants can hear vibrations through their feet. What we call intuition may simply be a form of specialized listening. Imagine now a vast savanna under soft evening light. Herd animals graze calmly, tails swaying in rhythm with the breeze. Then, as though following a silent command, they lift their heads in unison. The air has not changed. The wind is gentle, but something deep in the earth sends a faint message, a pressure shift, a low rumble, a change in electrical potential. Without panic, without confusion, the herd begins to move to safer ground. Hours later, distant tremors ripple across the plains. Some indigenous cultures have long believed that animals are guardians, messengers from the natural world. Today, many scientists find themselves returning to this idea not in a mystical sense, but with acknowledgement that animals may indeed perceive environmental signals long before our machines do. Their senses are ancient, refined by evolution, and deeply attuned to patterns we have forgotten how to hear. In 2004, when the Indian Ocean tsunami struck, countless human lives were lost, yet many wild animals survived. Elephants broke free from chains and ran inland. Flamingos flew to higher ground. Dogs refused to walk near the shore. Their behaviors were not random. They were responses to signals we cannot measure yet. Observe a dog pacing before a storm. Its ears swivel, its breathing changes. Dogs can hear thunder miles away long before it arrives, but they also detect drops in barometric pressure changes in static electricity and how the earth conducts sound moments before lightning forms. Their bodies interpret these cues instinctively. Birds with their vision attuned to polarized light may sense atmospheric disturbances before storms gather. Fish constantly adjusting to pressure, changes in water may feel distant seismic shifts through their lateral lines. Sensory organs far more sensitive than human instruments. What is most soothing about this phenomenon is not the drama of prediction, but the reminder that life on Earth is endlessly connected. We share a planet with creatures whose perception stretches into realms we barely understand. Their awareness does not compete with our technology. It complements it, inviting us to remember how deeply woven into nature we truly are. The naturalist Henry Beston once wrote, "The animal shall not be measured by man. In a world older and more complete than ours, they move finished and complete, gifted with extensions of the senses we have lost." These extensions remind us that intelligence is not limited to thought. It can exist in nerves, in instincts, in the quiet alignment of muscle and bone with the environment. As you breathe slowly now, picture yourself among these creatures. Birds sensing the earth's quiet tremors, whales responding to deep ocean pulses, elephants detecting vibrations through the soles of their feet. Imagine that you too could feel the world in this way, not with analysis, but with presence. not with instruments, but with your whole being. Let that thought relax you. The world speaks constantly. Life listens. We are part of that listening, and now, guided by this gentle awareness of Earth's hidden signals, we move into the mist toward glowing fogs that drift like luminous sentient clouds, revealing yet another soft-spoken mystery of our planet. In quiet valleys along riverbanks before dawn, and in remote forests untouched by roads or fences, there have been sightings of fog that seems to glow, with its own inner light, soft, pearly, and strangely deliberate. These luminous fogs drift across the landscape not like ordinary mist which moves with the wind, but in slow, wandering paths that sometimes appear to respond to the world around them. They brighten, dim, change direction, or hover in place as though guided by an unseen intention. Imagine waking early on a cool morning. The world is hushed, wrapped in silver haze. The trees stand like soft silhouettes, and then you notice it, a patch of fog glowing faintly as if lit from within. It moves gently, not blown sideways like the surrounding mist, but drifting in a slow arc around a cluster of stones. Then it pauses. Then it flows in another direction, one the wind is not taking. For a moment it feels as though the fog is aware. These sightings have occurred across continents in Scandinavian lakes, Appalachian forests, Amazonian wetlands, and rice fields in Southeast Asia. Folktales once attributed such glowing fogs to spirits' ancestors or natural guardians. Today, scientists see them as one of nature's soft, unresolved mysteries phenomena that blur the boundary between meteorology, chemistry, and the deep poetry of the natural world. To begin understanding them, researchers explore several physical explanations. One possibility is triboelectric luminescence, in which tiny particles within the fog dust pollen, volcanic ash, or ice crystals become charged through friction and emit faint light when they interact. This phenomenon can occur in storms or dry conditions, but glowing fogs often appear on calm, humid evenings with no lightning or electrical buildup. The triboelectric theory explains part of the glow, but not the movement. Another hypothesis involves chemiluminescent gases released from soil or wetlands. Certain organic compounds can emit light when reacting with oxygen, producing soft illumination similar to foxfire or glowing fungi. Yet luminous fogs often form over areas with no known biological emissions, and their light persists even in environments too cold or too mineral dense for such reactions. A third idea proposes that atmospheric plasma electrically charged air might form under rare conditions of pressure and humidity. If so, the fog could behave like a gentle drifting plasma cloud, responsive not to wind but to variations in electrical potential. Plasma can move in ways that seem intentional, following invisible pathways in the air like a soap bubble riding currents you cannot see. But typical atmospheric plasmas are short-lived and bright, while luminous fogs are long-lasting and soft. Then there is the question of movement. Why does the glowing mist drift in directions that oppose the wind? One explanation considers temperature gradients. If the luminous fog consists of microdroplets that hold warmth or coolness differently from the surrounding mist, it might slide along pockets of rising or sinking air, creating the illusion of sentience. Temperature-driven flows can be subtle, gentle, and complex enough to fool the eye. Another possibility involves low-frequency vibrations from the Earth itself. These could gently push denser fog patches along specific paths. Animals sense these vibrations. Perhaps fog too is shaped by them. Still, none of these ideas completely capture what observers describe luminous fogs that respond to movement drifting closer to or farther from objects brightening when approached by animals, or dividing and regrouping like a flock of glowing mist. To be clear, there is no scientific evidence that these fogs are truly sentient or conscious, but the perception of sentience is emotionally striking. It reveals something about the way humans interpret gentle, ambiguous motion. We are pattern-seeking creatures. When we see a slow-moving cloud of light that changes direction softly, we instinctively imagine intention the same way we see faces in clouds or meaning in bird flight. This does not diminish the wonder. If anything, it deepens it. Imagine now that you're standing in a clearing as the luminous fog drifts toward you. The trees around you fade softly into silhouette. The air feels cool on your skin. The fog brightens slightly, then dims, then brightens again as though breathing. You feel no fear, only calm curiosity. The fog flows around your feet, gliding like a ribbon of moonlit water. Its motion is gentle, unhurried, almost soothing. If you close your eyes, you can still sense it not by touch or smell, but by presence. A shifting coolness, a delicate glow against your eyelids, a feeling of floating as if the fog is guiding your breath into slower rhythms. The writer Lauren Isley once said, "If there is magic on this planet, it is contained in water. Fog is simply water made visible. When it glows, when it moves in unusual ways, when it behaves like a living entity, that magic becomes something we can watch with our own eyes." There is comfort in the idea that even simple things, droplets of water suspended in air, can produce mystery. It reminds us that the world does not require complexity to amaze us. Even the quietest mornings, the softest landscapes hold secrets that science has not yet fully unraveled. As you breathe gently, now let the image of the luminous fog settle over your thoughts, like a soft veil. Imagine it drifting in loops and spirals, responding not to intention, but to delicate shifts in the Earth's invisible patterns. Let it calm your inner landscape, smoothing out tension, softening your focus, preparing you for rest. For wonder is a form of rest, a way for the mind to wander without fear, to drift without needing answers. And now, following the gentle glow of this drifting mist, we turn toward yet another mystery of form and motion, the strange, perfect geometries that ice water and even heavy stones sometimes carve into the world, shaping patterns that seem more like art than accident. In the quietest corners of the natural world, where wind drifts softly across frozen lakes and rivers, glide with unhurried grace, geometry emerges in ways so precise, so elegant that it seems guided by an invisible hand. Here, ice folds itself into perfect hexagons. Water reverses its flow as though time briefly forgot which direction to move. Rivers carve spirals so flawless they resemble celestial patterns drawn on the Earth's surface. And in the world's driest deserts, boulders wander silently across the sand, leaving long deliberate trails as if pulled by a patient, unseen sculptor. These phenomena are real, documented, measured, and yet they feel like dreams. Let us begin with the frozen lakes that become canvases of giant geometry. The hexagon lakes. In the far north, when winter grips the land and temperatures fall low enough for water to surrender into stillness, something astonishing can occur. Massive hexagonal tiles form across the frozen surface, perfect tessellated shapes just like the patterns deep in honeycombs, basalt cliffs, and even the atmospheric flows around Saturn's North Pole. Why hexagons? Because nature often arranges itself in the most efficient pattern possible. When a lake freezes unevenly and temperature gradients ripple through its surface, stress lines propagate outward. The ice wants to relieve tension in the smoothest, most energy-efficient structure available. And mathematics shows that hexagons minimize surface energy better than any other shape. A poet once wrote, "The universe is made of stories, not atoms." Yet here we see that atoms themselves tell stories of order, balance, and quiet precision. Imagine walking across such a frozen lake at dusk. Snow falls in gentle spirals. The air tastes clean and thin. Beneath your feet stretches a mosaic the size of a village, each hexagon wide enough to stand in each angle, flawless. Each line a reminder that the universe is always arranging, always patterning, even when no one is watching. Water that flows backward. Then there are rivers that for brief breathtaking moments reverse direction. Water turns upstream, defying gravity's script as though answering to a deeper rhythm. How can this happen? Usually through a phenomenon called a seiche, a standing wave caused by sudden changes in atmospheric pressure or seismic vibrations. When a strong enough pressure shift sweeps across a lake or river basin, it can tilt the water surface like a giant invisible lever. The result, water surges backward, climbing against its usual path. The effect is mesmerizing. Imagine standing at the bank of a river you've known all your life, a river that always flows in the same direction, and watching it suddenly turn like a great memory, awakening and reconsidering its past. It reminds us that time itself may not be as linear as it feels, that the world can rewind in small, gentle ways. Rivers that spiral like galaxies. Some rivers don't just bend or meander, they spiral in perfect geometric forms. If you were to look from above, they appear like cosmic drawings, coils, whirls, logarithmic spirals as precise as the arms of a galaxy. These spirals form when flow speed, sediment load, and riverbank shape enter a delicate balance. The water begins to oscillate, swinging left and right with increasing harmony, until the bends carve a pattern mathematicians call a standing wave meander. It is geometry made of motion, water thinking in curves, earth drawing with liquid ink. The sensation of watching such a river is almost meditative. The world moves but slowly, patterns build but gently. It is an unfolding logic that never raises its voice, stones that walk across the desert. And then we travel to the deserts, wide silent places where time feels thick. Here on the dry lake beds of Death Valley and other parched basins around the world, enormous stones, some weighing hundreds of kilograms, move on their own, leaving trails behind them that can stretch for meters. They are called sailing stones, and their motion occurs so quietly that no human has ever witnessed the act directly until very recently. The explanation once found was beautifully simple and beautifully strange. Thin sheets of ice form beneath the stones during cold nights. When morning light arrives, the ice softens and breaks into gentle rafts. A whisper of wind pushes the icy slabs and the stones glide along with them. It is motion without footsteps, travel without the traveller taking a single breath. What was once thought mysterious becomes, under the lens of careful observation, a story of ice wind and patience. But even knowing the mechanism does not diminish the wonder, because the real marvel is not the motion but the quiet orchestration that allows it. The geometry of calm. What ties all these phenomena together? Hexagonal lakes, backward rivers, spiral waterways and walking stones is not just geometry, it is calmness. Each event unfolds slowly, silently, without spectacle. They are the universe's soft gestures, not its thunderous ones. Nature can shout in storms, volcanoes, earthquakes, supernovae. But here it whispers. These geometric miracles remind us that symmetry exists everywhere, not because someone is drawing it, but because the laws of physics find harmony whenever the world begins to settle. In the silence of winter lakes, in the steady hum of rivers, in the slow drift of desert winds, order emerges spontaneously. Perhaps this is why watching patterns form is so deeply relaxing. It mirrors the way thoughts settle before sleep, chaotic ripples becoming simple shapes, then softer shapes, then rest. As physicist Alan Lightman once wrote, the same equations that describe the orbits of planets can describe the swirl of water as it empties from a sink. In other words, the macro and the micro, the cosmic and the earthly all speak the same language. Let that thought settle into you like snow on a still lake. Breathe gently. Feel the geometry in your own heartbeat's steady, rhythmic quiet. For when the world expresses itself through pattern, through balance, through calm repetition, it feels almost like a lullaby from the laws of physics themselves. And as we follow these peaceful shapes across ice, water and stone, we arrive at another realm where the unfamiliar meets the intimate, the way light sound, and even the human body respond mysteriously to the forces of weather and magnetic fields, whispering yet more secrets just beneath the threshold of understanding. In the quiet spaces between storms, deep in the stillness of night, and even in moments when nothing unusual seems to be happening at all, the human body sometimes reacts to the world in ways that feel almost mystical. People report seeing flashes of light with their eyes closed, hearing strange trumpet-like sounds from the sky, sensing future events with uncanny precision, or feeling waves of heat rising from within without any physical cause. These experiences can seem supernatural, but they often arise at the delicate meeting point between biology and the invisible forces around us, magnetic fields, atmospheric pressure, electrostatic charge, and the subtle architecture of the brain. Tonight we explore these quiet mysteries, not to dismiss them, and not to exaggerate them, but to understand how deeply intertwined our bodies are with the changing rhythms of the earth. Flashes of light behind closed eyes. Imagine yourself lying in bed, the room completely dark, the world silent. You close your eyes expecting only blackness. And then a spark, a brief flash, a shimmering ripple of light. You are not dreaming. You are witnessing something called a phosphene. Phosphenes happen when the retina is stimulated not by external light, but by electrical or mechanical signals. They can appear during meditation, during storms, or even when Earth's magnetic field shifts slightly. Astronauts on the International Space Station frequently report bright streaks and flashes behind their eyes caused by cosmic rays passing through their retinas with incredible speed. One astronaut described it as little stars exploding inside your head. Our bodies are sensitive not only to light itself, but to the conditions that shape light, the fields and particles that move invisibly around us. When magnetic fluctuations ripple through the atmosphere during solar storms, for example, some people feel tiny sparks of perception, echoes of cosmic interactions happening far beyond our senses. It is a reminder that even in darkness your mind glows. Trumpets from the sky, across the world in mountains, deserts and cities, people have reported a strange resonant sound, a long metallic trumpet-like tone echoing from above. These sounds can last seconds or minutes. They drift, they pulse, and they fade. No source ever appears. Science offers several possibilities, each fascinating in its subtlety: atmospheric ducting, where sound travels through layers of warm and cool air like a wave through a hollow tube. Seismic resonance, where deep earth vibrations hum upward into the air. Metallic structures expanding or contracting due to sudden temperature changes echoing across landscapes. Or distant thunder refracted by temperature inversions bending sound like light through a lens. Yet none of these explanations fully account for every event. Some sounds are too loud, too sustained, or occur in places with no structures at all. Perhaps these noises are reminders that Earth is not silent, that wind pressure and magnetism can combine into tones that mimic instruments we never built. As the poet Rilke once wrote, "Everything sings, sometimes even the sky." Premonition, the mind touching the future. Few phenomena intrigue scientists more than the reports of people sensing an event before it happens. Not in vague, dreamy ways, but in specific behaviours. A mother waking moments before a distant child calls for help. A person changing travel plans just before an accident occurs. Entire communities reporting unease moments before an earthquake. Is it supernatural, or simply the mind's ability to detect patterns faster than conscious thought? Several theories suggest that humans possess a dormant sensitivity to ultra-low vibrations, subtle magnetic shifts or air pressure changes, the same cues animals may use to detect natural disasters. If true, then what feels like premonition may simply be intuition grounded in biology, the brain stitching together signals we do not consciously notice. The philosopher William James once wrote, "Our minds are islands in a sea of sensations we never fully realize." Perhaps premonition is simply when one of those sensations finally reaches the shore, heat rising from within. Then there are the moments when people feel gentle waves of heat radiating from inside their bodies, as though a warm tide were moving through their chest or spine. These sensations sometimes appear during meditation, deep relaxation, or emotional clarity, but also during shifts in humidity, barometric pressure, or geomagnetic activity. Some traditions interpret these waves as spiritual energy. Science sees them as the interplay between the autonomic nervous system, blood flow, and internal thermoregulation. But even this explanation, though correct, does not capture the profound calm many describe, a feeling of expansion, of grounding, of quiet, awakening. What we experience as heat may be the nervous system easing into a state of balance, releasing stored tension, allowing blood vessels to widen, and the body to rediscover its own rhythm. It is a reminder that the body is not a machine, it is an instrument, and the world plays upon it. The body is a landscape of signals. These phenomena are internal flashes of light, skyborne trumpets, surprising intuitions, and rising heat may seem unrelated. But they share a common origin, the human body responding to forces it evolved alongside. Earth's magnetic field protects life from cosmic radiation. Atmospheric pressure guides weather and climate. Electric fields hum silently around every storm. Deep vibrations echo through rock and soil. Our ancestors felt these things directly. We feel them still, though modern life has taught us to ignore the quietest messages. But the body remembers, it listens, it responds in whispers. When you feel something strange, a flicker, a hum, a warming and knowing, you may be touching the edges of ancient sensitivity or biology tuned to a planet that is always in motion. As Carl Sagan wrote, "We are a way for the universe to know itself. Perhaps we are also a way for the universe to sense itself. And now as we follow the thread of perception from the human body to the wider network of living beings, we turn toward another mystery, the ways animals, plants, and even fungi communicate through signals so subtle and elegant that science is only beginning to understand their language. In the gentle darkness of the natural world, beneath the canopy of ancient forests, and across fields shimmering with evening dew, life communicates in ways so delicate, so intricate, that we're only beginning to perceive them. We often imagine communication as something loud, something spoken, something obvious. But in truth, most of the world does not speak with voices. It speaks with light, with electrical whispers, with chemical signatures, and with rhythms so soft that only patience can reveal them. Tonight we explore the quiet languages of plants and animals, languages not built from words but from pulses, glows, and subtle shifts of life's internal electricity. Synchrony of fireflies, a conversation in light. Imagine a warm summer night in Southeast Asia, or along the riverbanks of the American South. The air is thick with warmth. The leaves tremble softly and then the forest begins to glow. Fireflies appear from the shadows, blinking gently at first. A point of light here, another there. Then slowly something astonishing unfolds. Every firefly begins to flash in perfect synchrony, like thousands of tiny stars beating with one shared heart. This is not random. This is communication. Biologists studying these patterns discovered that each firefly adjusts its rhythm based on the flashes around it. What begins as chaotic blinking gradually becomes a shared frequency, a luminous wave rolling across the night. The effect is mesmerizing, peaceful, almost musical. In fact, mathematicians use the same equations that describe synchronized firefly pulses to explain phenomena like the coordinated beating of heart cells, the rhythmic firing of neurons, even the synchronization of galaxies rotating in clusters. Nature repeats patterns across scales from the microscopic to the cosmic. Fireflies with their gentle glow remind us that life seeks connection even in the dark. One poet wrote, "Light is the language of the universe." Perhaps these tiny insects are simply speaking more fluently than we are. The wood wide web forests sending messages beneath the soil. Beneath your feet, under every step in a forest, lies a hidden network more complicated than the wiring of a city. Tree roots, fungal strands, and soil microbes weave together into what scientists call a mycorrhizal network, but which many now affectionately refer to as the wood wide web. Through this underground, lattice trees and fungi exchange water nutrients, distress signals, even chemical warnings about pests. But the most mysterious discovery, some of these signals behave like light pulses. Certain fungi transmit information through waves of electrochemical energy impulses that ripple along their hyphae, much like neurons fire in a brain. Experiments show patterns that resemble spikes, pauses, and bursts of communication. Not intelligence as we know it, but coordination, awareness, and something that feels very close to decision-making. Consider this: when one tree is attacked by insects, the signal passes through the fungal network to neighboring trees. Those trees then increase their defensive chemicals before the threat arrives. The forest prepares together as one organism spread across many trunks. The indigenous peoples of many regions long believed the forest was alive in a unified way, not just many trees, but one breathing entity. Modern science, though cautious, finds itself cautiously agreeing. Not metaphorically, but biologically. Forests think in slow rhythms. Forests whisper electrically. Forests glow beneath the soil in pulses we cannot see. Plants responding to human emotion. Perhaps the most intimate idea of all is that plants may respond to us not with awareness, the way humans understand it, but with shifts in electrical potential, tiny voltage changes that ripple through their cells. In the 1960s, researcher Cleve Baxter conducted a famous experiment measuring electrical activity in plant leaves. When he simply thought about burning one of the leaves, the plant's electrical signal spiked dramatically. Though controversial and not fully replicable, the experiment inspired decades of deeper, more precise research. Today, we know this much with certainty. Plants change their electrical state in response to touch. They shift their voltage in response to sound frequencies. They react to changes in human presence, warmth, breath humidity, and microelectric fields. And while no evidence shows that plants can read emotion in a human sense, they do respond to the physiological changes emotions cause. Heart rate increases, changes in skin conductivity, tiny electrical shifts in the air around us. In a way, your emotional state becomes part of the environment, and the plant reacts just as it would to sunlight or moisture. This idea is comforting, that even when we feel alone, we inhabit a world sensitive to us, a world that listens in ways we barely understand, a universe of silent conversations. What do we make of these quiet exchanges? Fireflies synchronizing their glow like a breathing constellation, roots and fungi sending pulses through the dark soil, plants shifting voltage in subtle response to our presence, None of this implies consciousness as humans define it, but all of it implies connection. Life is not a collection of isolated organisms, but a system of interwoven signals, a tapestry of information flowing through light, through chemicals, through the tiniest motions of ions across membranes. The physicist David Bohm once said, "Everything is enfolded into everything." In these phenomena, we glimpse that enfolding. The world whispering to itself, the forest speaking in pulses, the night glowing with shared rhythm. And perhaps in this soft symphony of communication, we also glimpse something about ourselves, that we too are built to connect, to sense, to be moved by the signals around us. Let the thoughts settle over you gently like dew forming on leaves. Life is talking, not in words but in patterns, and you are part of that pattern. Now as we follow these hidden conversations beneath the soil and within the glow of fireflies, we journey toward the next mystery, the oceans, where immense vertical walls of temperature rise and fall like shifting curtains, dividing waters in ways that defy our expectations and hint at forces still unfolding in the deep. Far beneath the surface of the world's oceans, where sunlight fades into shades of blue and green, and the water becomes cool as moonlit stone, there exist structures as strange as anything found in the sky above. Divers, submersibles, and deep-sea sensors have encountered vertical temperature walls, immense sheets of warm and cold water, standing side by side like curtains suspended in the depths. They do not swirl or mix the way ordinary water should. They hold their shape. They drift slowly. They shimmer as if lit from within by temperature alone. To witness one is to feel as though you have stepped inside a dream. Imagine drifting down in a submersible, the ocean surrounding you in deep, velvet blue silence. The lights soften, pressure grows, and your breath echoes in the chamber. Then out of the stillness a wall appears, a pale, wavering sheet rising from the seafloor toward the surface, glowing faintly in the submarine's beams. You reach out the robotic arm. The moment it crosses the boundary, sensors spike from icy cold to warm the way one steps from a shadow into sunlight. And yet the boundary remains perfectly vertical, as if drawn by an invisible architect. This phenomenon challenges some of the most fundamental assumptions in fluid dynamics. Warm water should rise, cold water should sink. Layers should spread horizontally, not stand upright. And yet in these stretches of the ocean, particularly near tectonic ridges, underwater mountains and certain abyssal plains, warm and cold sheets persist side by side, resisting mixing for hours, sometimes days. What could shape water into vertical walls? Scientists studying the phenomenon propose several possible mechanisms, each fascinating but incomplete. 1. Internal waves. The ocean's hidden pulse. The ocean is never truly still. Even in the deepest trenches, internal waves ripple along density layers, much like atmospheric waves ripple through clouds. These waves are enormous, some taller than skyscrapers, yet they move slowly, quietly, detectable, mostly through subtle shifts in temperature and pressure. If an internal wave becomes trapped between two underwater features such as ridges or seamounts, it can stretch vertically. This may cause sheets of differing temperatures to stand in place like curtains caught in a barely moving breeze. But these trapped waves should eventually collapse, and yet some temperature walls last too long holding their boundaries with an elegance fluid dynamics struggles to predict. 2. Thermohaline instability, when salt shapes. Space. Salt content affects water density. A layer of warm, salty water can behave differently than a layer of cool, fresher water. In some rare cases, differences in salinity create pockets of stability that prevent mixing, allowing temperature layers to orient in unexpected ways. Think of it like invisible scaffolding salty currents, forming a frame on which warm and cold can hang side by side. Still, this explanation doesn't capture the sheer vertical precision of the observed walls. 3. Microeddies and rotational forces, deep in the ocean. The Earth's rotation shapes currents into spiraling flows, subtle and persistent. These microeddies can act like invisible pillars holding temperature boundaries upright the way wind can support a soap bubble, but eddies are unstable by nature. The walls they support should wobble, disintegrate, break apart, and yet many temperature walls stand with astonishing steadiness. 4. Underwater acoustic resonance. Perhaps the most intriguing idea involves sound. The ocean is full of low-frequency vibrations, tectonic tremors, distant storms, the song of whales, even the echo of waves breaking miles away. Under certain conditions, these vibrations may arrange water layers into standing patterns, similar to how sound waves on a plate of sand create geometric shapes known as Chladni figures. If true, then temperature walls are nothing less than sound sculpting water. The ocean speaking in form. Carl Sagan once wrote, "The Earth is a place of indescribable beauty." In these shimmering curtains of water, we glimpse that beauty in motion, a sanctuary of stillness. Regardless of the mechanism, drifting alongside a temperature wall is profoundly soothing. The water feels layered with memory. The ocean seems to breathe in slow rhythms. The gradients of warmth and cold become like emotional tones, gentle, drifting, patient. A diver once described the experience as standing at the doorway of two seasons at once. There is a soft poetry in that idea, that the ocean can hold winter and summer side by side, separated by a line as thin as a thought. As you imagine this scene now, let the stillness settle within you, the slow, vertical drift of warm water, the coolness rising like mist from below, the boundary shimmering like moonlight on silk. This is not chaos. It is balance expressed in a language older than words. The ocean as a memory of the cosmos. In many ways, the ocean is a microcosm of the universe. Stratified layers resemble the atmospheres of giant planets. Internal waves mirror the oscillations of stars. Even the temperature walls echo phenomena seen in plasma fields and nebula boundaries, where warm and cool gases coexist in elegant vertical sheets. Perhaps the ocean remembers something of its cosmic origin, the physics of early planetary formation written into the movement of salt and water. It's a comforting thought that every ripple of warm and cold carries the whisper of the stars, letting the image drift into you. As you breathe slowly, imagine descending through the quiet deep where the water grows cold and the light fades. Imagine approaching a vertical wall of warmth, reaching your hand toward it, feeling the sudden bloom of temperature against your skin. Imagine how gently these forces shift, no turbulence, no violence, only the slow choreography of fluids responding to unseen patterns. Let that image soothe you. Let it rest in your mind like a pause in a long sentence, a moment of stillness in the great story of the Earth. For in the deep ocean, even contradictions, warm and cold, rising and sinking, learn to exist side by side without conflict. And perhaps we can learn from that. As we rise slowly from these underwater curtains of warmth and cold, we turn our gaze once again to the sky, to distant stars whose flickering brightness defies every model we know, dimming and brightening with a strangeness that suggests the universe still holds secrets in every direction. Far beyond our solar system, in the quiet reaches of the galaxy where starlight drifts like ancient dust, astronomers have found stars that dim in ways no known physical model can fully explain. These stars flicker not with the steady rhythm of variable stars, nor with the predictable dip of planets passing before them, nor with the soft obscurations of drifting dust. Instead, they darken in irregular, abrupt and deeply puzzling ways, as though something vast and unseen is reshaping the light before it reaches us. To lie beneath a night sky, breathing slowly, watching these distant suns, is to feel a sense of cosmic heartbeat, an awareness that the universe is still writing stories we have not yet learned to read. Tonight we step gently into that mystery, the enigmatic dimming of distant suns. Imagine observing a star that has shone steadily for countless millennia. From Earth, it appears as a quiet point of light, its photons travelling hundreds of years to touch your eyes. Then suddenly, without warning, the star dims, not by a little, by 20, 30, sometimes even 40%. The dimming lasts for days or weeks. Then the star brightens again, then dims once more, but at a different depth, a different timing, a new pattern. This is not how stars behave. Dust clouds tend to block blue light more than red, giving the star a warmer tint. But these dimming stars do not redden. Orbiting planets produce periodic dips repeating with clock-like precision. But these dips are erratic. Intrinsic variation, where the star itself changes, usually follows predictable cycles. But these changes are chaotic, almost fragmented. Astronomers call such stars unclassified irregular dimmers, a term that simply means we have no idea what we're looking at. The case of Tabby's star. Perhaps the most famous example is KIC 8462852, known as Tabby's star. Its flickering confounded researchers for years. One team joked that it behaved as though something impossible were happening. Science fiction writers immediately imagined colossal megastructures orbiting the star Dyson spheres, or swarms designed by advanced civilizations. While there is no evidence of such engineering, the mystery itself ignited scientific imagination. Even Carl Sagan once said, "Somewhere something incredible is waiting to be known." And Tabby's star was certainly incredible. The star dimmed by depths, no natural explanation fully captured. Dust clouds could account for some variation, but not the sharp, sudden drops. Swarms of comets were suggested, but no known comet system behaves so systematically chaotic. Researchers finally proposed a partial explanation involving a complex mix of dust grains, gas, and irregular structures, but the puzzle remains unsolved. The star still dims in ways that defy easy answers. It invites us to listen more closely, to watch more patiently. The strange patterns elsewhere in the galaxy. Tabby's star is not alone. New surveys have found dozens of stars undergoing inexplicable dimming events, stars whose brightness drops by the same bizarre percentage every 2600 days. Stars that dim slowly over years, then suddenly brighten as if emerging from shadow. Stars that flicker in block-like intervals reminiscent of encoded patterns rather than natural cycles. Some dimming events occur in young stars surrounded by gas and dust, but the patterns are too precise. Some occur in old stars where no debris should exist, yet the dips behave as though something structured is drifting past. One astronomer described these stars as blinking in a language we don't understand. There is something soothing and humbling in that idea, the universe speaking softly, waiting for us to become quiet enough to hear it. Possible explanations. Non-complete scientists remain grounded in physical possibilities. Several hypotheses continue to unfold. 1. Vast irregular dust clouds. Dust that does not behave like typical dust larger grains, transparent particles or structures shaped by magnetic fields. But dust should redden starlight, and in many of these cases it does not. 2. Orbiting rings or broken planets. Fragments of shattered worlds could block light in uneven ways, yet the patterns are too prolonged or too irregular for simple debris. 3. Gas giants with enormous expanding atmospheres. Planets with hot inflated atmospheres could obscure starlight unpredictably, but no known exoplanet behaves this erratically. 4. Magnetically shaped plasma clouds. At certain magnetic alignments, plasma can form drifting curtains around stars, but such structures should emit signatures we simply do not detect. Each explanation solves only part of the puzzle, like a lullaby sung in fragments, the melody recognizable but incomplete. The comfort of cosmic mystery. There is something deeply peaceful in knowing that not everything must be solved immediately. Some stars dim unpredictably, not because the universe is broken, but because the universe is vast and our understanding is still young. Imagine reclining under a dark sky, the earth cooling beneath you. Above, thousands of stars shine quietly, their light traveling across centuries. Millions more exist beyond your sight, and among them, just a handful blink strangely, as if sending signals through the ocean of space. Their flickering carries no fear, only wonder, a soft reminder that knowledge grows slowly like a candle flame expanding in a vast room. Alan Lightman wrote, "We are haunted by the unknown because it reminds us that the world is larger than ourselves. In the gentle dimming of these stars, we feel the truth of that. The universe is not a machine to be mastered. It is a story to be read patiently, lovingly, humbly." Letting the mystery settle into you as you breathe, picture a star many light years away flickering in quiet intervals. You cannot see it from Earth without a telescope, yet its light touches you. Its pattern enters your mind, its rhythm shapes a thought. Let that awareness relax you. You're connected to something immense. You are listening to the quietest heartbeat imaginable, the pulse of a distant sun. Each time the star dims, imagine it inhaling. Each time it brightens, imagine it exhaling. A cosmic breath, slow and ancient, and you here on Earth breathe with it. As we drift with these mysterious stars, their flickering woven into our thoughts like threads of soft starlight, we turn gently back toward our own planet, where the Earth itself sometimes glows before it trembles, lighting the horizon with strange floating sparks that herald the deep forces beneath our feet. In the quiet hours before an earthquake, when the ground is still and the air hangs heavy with silence, something extraordinary sometimes appears, floating lights, soft shimmering glows that drift above the Earth as though the planet itself is taking a luminous breath. These lights, known as earthquake lights, have been witnessed for centuries. They hover over valleys, glide along mountain ridges, flicker like lanterns above fault lines, and sometimes burst briefly like pale blue stars just before the ground begins to tremble. To see one in person, people say, is to feel as though the Earth is whispering a warning in the gentlest way it knows. Tonight we step into this mystery, a phenomenon rare, beautiful, and deeply connected to the hidden forces beneath our feet. a glow on the horizon before the world moves. Imagine standing on a quiet hillside at dusk. The wind has died. Birds have gone still. The world seems as though it is holding its breath. Then at the edges of the valley a faint blue glow appears. Not lightning, not headlights, not anything familiar. The light rises, softly hangs for a few seconds, then drifts sideways, weightless. Colours shift from blue to white to a soft violet, like the shimmering of the aurora brought down to earth. Moments later, the ground begins to shake. Witnesses from Japan, Italy, Peru, Chile, India, and the American West have all described similar events. Some report luminous globes hovering half a metre above the ground. Others see streaks of light bursting upward like upside-down lightning. Some describe misty glows that shimmer along cracks in the earth. All appear before or during seismic events, never afterward. If the earth could speak before it moved, perhaps this is the language it would choose: not thunder, not chaos, but a soft light rising from its surface. What could cause earthquake lights? For decades, scientists dismissed earthquake lights as folklore, charming but unreliable. Yet as video evidence accumulated, attitudes shifted. Today, earthquake lights are considered a real geophysical phenomenon, though their source remains partly mysterious. Several mechanisms have been explored, each revealing something about the incredible complexity of rocks fields and forces below our feet. 1. Piezoelectric sparks from shifting crystals. Certain minerals, quartz, for example, generate electric charge when squeezed or fractured. During tectonic stress, entire layers of rock may deform, rapidly producing electric fields strong enough to ionize air. Ionized air glows. This could create hovering or flickering lights, especially near quartz-rich fault lines. It is electricity drawn not from the sky, but from the Earth's bones. Yet not all earthquake lights appear in quartz regions, so this explanation cannot stand alone. 2. Charge carriers. Moving through rock. Recent studies propose that when rocks are stressed, electrons and positive holes become unbound and migrate upward through cracks, creating powerful electrical currents. When these charges reach the surface and interact with the atmosphere, they may trigger luminous effects similar to St. Elmo's fire. This mechanism is elegant, the Earth emitting light by releasing electrical energy built over centuries of tectonic pressure. Still, not all observed lights match this model. 3. Atmospheric plasma, formed by rapid stress, changes. In some cases, earthquake lights resemble floating plasmaspheres, stable glowing orbs similar to ball lightning. Plasma can form when strong electrical fields tear electrons from air molecules. During rapid tectonic shifts, such fields might arise suddenly, illuminating pockets of air just above ground. Plasma orbs can hover, drift, or remain perfectly still, just like many eyewitness accounts describe, but the physics of ball lightning-like phenomena remain complex and only partially understood. 4. The mind-seeking meaning. Of course, some earthquake lights may be optical illusions caused by electrical disruptions in the retina, or by reflections of distant city lights on atmospheric layers. Humans are excellent pattern finders, especially in moments of tension. But even after removing such cases, enough evidence remains that the phenomenon is undeniably real. Earthquake lights are not dreams. They are signals, physical, luminous, and quietly profound. A soft warning from deep time. There is something deeply emotional about the idea of the Earth glowing before it moves. Earthquakes are among the planet's most violent expressions, reshaping landscapes in moments. Yet before the rupture, before the roar, before the shaking, the planet sometimes offers a gentle light. It feels almost compassionate. One geophysicist described them as the Earth exhaling photons under stress. Another said it is the crust speaking in light instead of sound. As you imagine these glowing forms, now floating spheres, drifting ribbons, shimmering mists, let them soothe you rather than alarm you. Their presence is rare, almost tender. They remind us that even within powerful forces there can be softness. Even within deep tectonic strain there can be beauty. Picture a calm night. Picture the Earth glowing softly like a lantern beneath the surface. Picture that glow fading as the world shifts, then returning to darkness. And breathe with a quiet certainty that the world, even in its movement, holds wonder. Earth and sky in conversation. In some cultures, earthquake lights were seen as messages from ancestors. In others, as warnings from the sky. But in modern science, they are understood as a conversation between the solid Earth and the air, above a transfer of stress charge and energy that briefly becomes visible to the human eye. This conversation has been happening for billions of years. We are simply learning to listen. And perhaps that is the deeper comfort. The earth is not silent. It murmurs, it signals, it glows sometimes before it trembles. Carl Jung once wrote, "In all chaos there is a cosmos." Earthquake lights are a reminder that even in upheaval, order and beauty can appear not in defiance of nature, but as part of its ancient rhythm. Let the light settle in your thoughts. As you drift toward your rest, imagine those gentle glows along a mountain ridge. Let them soften your breathing. Let them connect you to the deep, slow pulse of the earth. Not everything that glows is a star. Some lights belong to the ground beneath our feet, old, patient, luminous. And now, having followed signals from both sky and stone, we reach the final mystery, the acceptance of the unknown itself, and the quiet joy of letting unanswered questions drift beside us like a cosmic lullaby. In the end, after wandering through forests of drifting cold spots, listening to the humming of the earth, watching stars pulse with indecipherable rhythms, and descending into oceans where warm and cold waters hang like shimmering curtains, we arrive at a simple truth: the world remains filled with mysteries far gentler than we imagine. We often think of the unknown as something sharp-edged, something to be solved, conquered, tamed by understanding. Yet the deepest mysteries of our planet and universe do not roar. They whisper, they glow softly, they ripple in patterns that invite wonder rather than fear. They drift beside us like lanterns, guiding someone not toward answers but toward calm. Tonight, as we gather all these quiet phenomena into one space, let us rest in the comfort of what we do not know, the beauty of not knowing. Imagine lying beneath a night sky. You inhale cool air. Stars shimmer like distant embers. Somewhere far away, a luminous fog drifts in the forest. Somewhere beneath the ocean, a wall of warm water leans against a cold current suspended like a veil. Somewhere above a distant city, strange radio waves pulse in patterns that defy our instruments. Somewhere deep underground, electrical charges crawl through rock, preparing to glow before the earth moves. All of this is happening quietly, continuously, whether we understand it or not. We tend to believe that meaning comes from knowledge, but there is also meaning in wonder, in the willingness to let a question remain open. The physicist Richard Feynman once said, "I can live with doubt and uncertainty and not knowing." I think it's much more interesting to live not knowing than to have answers which might be wrong. There is peace in that sentiment. There is spaciousness. There is room to breathe. Mystery is not darkness. Mystery is the gentle twilight before dawn. A universe that does not rush. Across billions of years, stars form, breathe, and collapse. Rivers carve spirals into the earth. Fireflies synchronize their glow with perfect mathematics. Plants send slow pulses through their roots like thoughts drifting through soil. Animals sense storms before they form. Meteorites carry crystalline patterns older than the sun. None of these things hurry. None demand explanation. They simply exist, calm, patient, steady. And if you listen closely, the universe teaches through its stillness. A galaxy does not rush to spin. A mountain does not rush to rise. A river does not rush to curve. Everything moves in its own time. We too can rest in that rhythm, letting wonder soothe the mind. As you allow yourself to sink deeper into relaxation, picture the mysteries we explored as small lights drifting around your thoughts. A star flickering in impossible intervals, a desert stone gliding silently across the sand, a lake freezing into hexagons, a fog glowing as if alive animals moving before earthquakes, plants whispering through electric currents, water reversing direction for a moment in time. Each mystery floats like a soft luminescent sphere, not seeking answers but offering comfort. You don't need to chase them. You don't need to categorize or solve them. Simply let them hover gently around you like fireflies in a warm dusk. Your mind does not need to analyze. It only needs to drift. The unknown is not a threat. It is an invitation to relax into the vastness of existence, science and serenity. Science is often portrayed as a discipline of certainty, but the most beautiful scientists know that uncertainty is where discovery breathes. In the quiet boundary between what is known and what remains unexplained, imagination and knowledge become intertwined. Carl Sagan beautifully captured this when he wrote, "Somewhere something incredible is waiting to be known, but tonight that something incredible does not need to be solved. It only needs to be felt. Science can be a lullaby too, a gentle reassurance that the world is bigger than our worries, older than our fears, and softer than our doubts." When we embrace the unknown, we embrace the possibility of calm, a planet, whispering in soft voices. Let your thoughts drift now to the Earth itself, a planet alive with signals, lights, hums, pulses and rhythms we're only beginning to understand. The Earth is not silent. It speaks constantly in languages older than our species. The soft glow of earthquake lights the low vibration of the planet's hum, the shimmering pulse of auroras, the warmth rising from magma deep below, the quiet shifting of tectonic plates, the steady guidance of the magnetic field. When you listen with your whole being, you may realize you have never lived alone. You have lived inside a great breathing organism. You have always been surrounded by mystery. Letting go. Letting be breathed slowly. Let your body settle. Let your mind open like a sky at dusk. The world is full of mysteries that do not ask to be solved, only witnessed. You can rest in that presence, in the knowledge that not every question needs an answer tonight, not every pattern needs interpretation, not every flicker needs explanation. Some things simply are, and that is enough. Let yourself drift as softly as a luminous fog. Let your thoughts settle like cold air gliding through ancient forests. Let your curiosity glow quietly like a firefly in the dark. The universe does not rush your understanding. You have time, lifetimes, generations, epochs to wonder. For now, there is only peace. As tonight's journey comes to a close, let your mind drift gently like a speck of stardust floating in the vastness of space. Andromeda, the giant galaxy too. 5 million light-years away, still rest there, quiet and radiant, a gentle reminder that the universe will always be larger than any worry we carry. The mysterious phenomena, the strange lights, the silent rhythms of space. None of them exist to frighten us, but to remind us that even in what we cannot yet explain, there is a perfect kind of beauty. Science does not take the wonder away. It simply allows us to look deeper into what has always been miraculous. Every mystery we encounter, from stars that dim unpredictably to invisible echoes to the sprawling map of Andromeda, is an invitation to slow down, breathe deeply, and feel ourselves belonging to a story infinitely greater than our own lives. So close your eyes, let the whisper of the universe lull you into sleep, and as you sink into stillness, remember this: out there in the eternal night, Andromeda continues to shine quietly, like a goodnight blessing from the universe itself, offered gently to you.